Orioles are on the road. They start on the West Coast, and it'll be the Angels in Anaheim. Two of the game's outstanding young players, Machado and Trout, will go against one another head-to-head at the plate and in the field. For the Orioles, looking to improve on a .500 record on the road, first meeting against the Angels this season. Baseball from the West Coast. Put on a pot of coffee and let's go. It's the Orioles on Masson, and a very good evening from the West Coast. We are in Anaheim as the Orioles begin a three-city trip with 3 games against the Angels this weekend. Hi, everybody. I'm Gary Thorne. Great to have you with us. The Orioles come in 7-7, .500 record on the road. They will look to improve on not an easy trip as they will move around through a couple of time zones before this thing is over. For the Orioles, a limited number of numbers to look at because they've played the fewest games of any team on the road so far this season. But the difference right now is pitching. Let's take a look at those numbers. For the Orioles on the road compared to at home, the difference is significant when you look at that middle starter ERA. The road ERA has been way up there, 5.5 plus, while the home ERA has been very good. Bullpen ERA on the road has gotten it done, but they've had to come in ball games where the Orioles were already losing. And at the bottom, you see that run differential, what it is at home, and then what it is on the road. So Jim Palmer, Buck Showalter talking about it the other day, winning teams have got to play at least .500 on the road, and that's what they're going to try and do.
Yeah, and I think they'd obviously like to do a little bit better than that. I think he also mentioned the fact that you're still finding out about yourself. Here we are, in the 3rd week of May, but again, you've only played those 14 games on the road. Wright's going to start. One of the reasons the Orioles going to have success on the road is what are your young pitchers going to do? This is not the Mike Trout that we saw last year in his Major League debut, throwing 98 miles per hour to the guy they're handing figurines out tonight, Mike Trout. So, Wright's got to settle down. It's going to be a big, a really big crowd tonight. So, again, how are you going to handle it? And, Gausman, and then you got Jimenez who's struggling out. At the end of the day, I don't care if you're home or on the road. You got to pitch well. You got to give your team a chance to win. And Mike Wright certainly did a great job of that the last time, pitching 7 innings.
Baseball will drive you crazy, as you all know, as Anaheim couldn't hit a lick when it started. Now they're the team that's red hot. The Orioles, their power-loaded team, struggling to get runs at home. Let's see what happens here. Record is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. Beautiful day here. A few clouds around tonight, but very comfortable. 63 degrees. Virtually no breeze as we get set to start this ball game with the lights on. Let's take a look at the Orioles starting lineup, brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, and nothing to hide. Record, Machado and Jones, Davis, Trumbo, and Wieters, Scope, Reimold, and Yanish. Yanish getting the start at third base. Trumbo with the Angels, 460 games he played with them. Almost closed in on that 100 home run mark. And Buck Showalter's ball club, 24-15, tied for first with the Red Sox coming into today's play, as the Orioles, even though they did well in the homestand as far as the record was concerned, coming out 4-3, they hit only .225 for that homestand, averaging still 4.1 runs a ball game.
Yeah, you run into a team like Seattle that has very good pitching. They're second best pitching behind the White Sox. So all of a sudden, you're looking okay. You're going to get a lot of mistakes to hit. Orioles do a great job of that. And there's Hector Santiago, who throws a lot of fastballs. He's not a burner, but very deceptive. He's got a good changeup, a little bit of breaking ball, slider that he's been throwing a lot. So, last year loves to pitch here. Fourth lowest home ERA, even though he ended up 9-9. Don't score a lot of runs for him. And then I think the one thing that gets him, Gary, is the fact that pitch count can get real high. So that's come down this year. And of course, when you're throwing 18 pitches per inning, it's hard to get into the late innings and win ball games.
Well, the Orioles against left-handed starters are 5-5. That is the fifth best win percentage still in the American League. Batting average, however, against left-handers is only .227 against the lefties, so significantly less than the .278 that they have put up against right-handed batters. There are a number of Oriole hitters, Jim, whose really time is due now. Adam Jones, I think of, to get the bats going against left-handers.
Well, it is, and again, are you going to get good pitches to hit? I mean, Adam yesterday, bases loaded in the eighth inning, swung at a ball really on the ground. Get Benoit out of a life and death struggle because he looked like he was on life support. So it really comes down to, is Santiago going to be on or not? If he hangs breaking balls, as I mentioned, or gets some change-ups up in the strike zone, the Orioles need to take advantage of that.
All right, Orioles are ready to go against the 28-year-old left-hander. Finished the year 9-9 last year with a 3.59 ERA. And as usual here in Anaheim, a really beautiful evening for a baseball game. Joey Rickard will be leading it off. Rickard making the start in right field for the ball game tonight with a .264 number, 3 home runs and 9 RBIs. He continues to reach base one way or another, more than any other Oriole at the moment as far as the streak is concerned. And Santiago is ready to go. In at third base is Escobar. And our first pitch of the game will be taken for a strike, and we are underway. Rickard has been on in 12 consecutive ball games, even though the average during that streak is only .255. Puts that one in the gap to left center field, going back at the wall, and goodbye home run into the lower rock pile. How about that? Joey Rickard with a lead-off homer, and the Orioles with one batter up, one batter in, and a 1-0 lead.
All right, talking about home runs, I mean, that's the 8th home run he's thrown, and now 7 of them by right-handed hitters. And again, if you get a mistake, that was a fastball up in the zone, Gary, it's all about, can you put a good swing on it? All the guys, I mean, different time zone, as you mentioned, but out here hitting early in the cage off the tee and hoping that they can put on good swings on not only the mistakes, but also maybe some quality pitches.
4 home runs, 10 RBIs, over 400 feet on that drive into the power alley in left center field. Pitch taken inside Machado.
Well, one of the better fastball hitters, one of the better high ball hitters, and where does he get it? Probably outside third of the plate, gets set, the extension, and then, as you mentioned, drives it deep. Mike Trout in the figurine night, what is that one where he's jumping up over the wall?
Yeah.
He would have liked to have been able to do that.
So the Orioles jump out on top. Here's Manny Machado, and Manny will take the pitch down low for a ball. Well, the Orioles start out Yet another home run. 54% of their runs coming on homers. That's the 58th they've had this year. Santiago's delivery is going to miss outside, and a 3-ball 1-strike count on Manning.
Yeah, what wind there is blowing out to left center, so it'll probably affect only balls maybe down the right field line.
That one in the air to center field. Going back on it is Trout. That's deep. That's deep. Goodbye home run. It's up on the batter's eye. What a shot by Manny Machado. And for the 8th time this year, the Orioles have back-to-back home runs. This time the first 2 hitters in the ballgame. Well, all you can say is wow.
Well, you know, you're watching them taking batting practice, whether it's Trout or Trumbo or Jones or Davis, and well, when you get it over that hedge and up there on the artificial grass, now to center, you've hit the ball a long way. And once again, Mike Trout went back, but I mean, he ran out of room.
12th home run for Manny Machado, and the Orioles come out swinging. 2 home runs here in the first inning. Here's Adam Jones.
Well, another high fastball, so pretty much in the middle of the plate. And well, that sound, if you're pitching, you know pretty much what the consequence of that type of sound is going to be.
It's 8 pitches, 2 home runs.
Well, now what do you do? I mean, I never threw back-to-back to backers because I would have walked the next guy.
Yeah.
But right here, you don't want to do that. And if Adam Jones is just, you know, again, get a good pitch.
Adam Jones will fight that one off hard. For Manny Machado, that is the first home run he has had against the left-hander. So 1 out of 12 coming against the southpaws. And for record at the top of the order, he's got 2 against right, 2 against lefties. So Manny breaks out of that long ball drought against the left-handers in his first at bat against Santiago. Adam Jones will be going for the home run, do you think?
And there it was.
Oh, my.
Well, you know, it's an amazing game. And, you know, if you're Hector Santiago, you're coming off a team that just beat the Orioles 2 out of 3 against Seattle. You pitch 8 innings, you give up 2 hits, you shut them out. And you only walk 1 and 5. And now all of a sudden, 2 hitters in, you've given up twice as many runs as you gave up in 8 innings.
That'll be fouled off by Jones outside of third base. Adam is 4 for 10 against Santiago with a home run. Santiago has a 1-0 mark against the Orioles in his career. This is the 7th career game, his 4th start against the O's. And the pitch taken down low. He had 5 scoreless innings. The last start he had against Baltimore was back in July of 14. So it's been a while since he's been on the mound as a starter. He has appeared against them out of the bullpen since then. Adam Jones waiting on it, and Adam will take it away. And what a start. 2 home runs and a walk.
Let's take a look at the defense. Ortega, Trout, Calhoun, very good center and right. Ortega, a young player. Escobar comes over from the Nationals. Petit Giovatella is red hot playing second base. Crone, numbers also very good. And then Carlos Perez with his first home run of the season yesterday.
So the Orioles with a runner on at first base and nobody out. And here's Chris Davis. Chris also has a home run lifetime against Santiago. He is 2 for 8 with a long ball. Jones off first base, and the pitch will be there for a strike.
Yeah, pretty conventional defense for the Angels. I mean, shortstop up the middle. And other than that, they don't really take away a lot of the holes by stacking the defense on the right side of the infield.
No. Chris, a 200 hitter off lefty so far, 1 home run. Santiago's delivery, and that'll be taken for a strike. We mentioned it over the weekend when during this past week, rather. The record for the Orioles back-to-back home runs is 14 for a year, and they already have 8, which is a phenomenal number for May 20. Jones with Crone playing off the bag at first with a lefty Davis up. And he'll take that one. It is in there for a strike. Chris is gone.
So take a look at your Mercedes pitch track. Obviously, Tom Payne, who's doing the home plate umpiring, thought it got the top of the strike zone. Certainly close enough to maybe try to foul off.
So one down, and here's the former Angel, Mark Trumbo.
And they were traded for each other.
Yeah, pitcher.
Yeah, Santiago came over here, and Mark Trumbo went down to Arizona.
And the pitch is a strike at the knees. Trumbo, designated hitter tonight, 1 for 8. That one hit off Santiago, a home run. 0-1 count, one down. They'll try and turn the double play here for Santiago. He's supposed to be a 50-50 ground ball pitcher. Pulls the nice string on the 79-mile-an-hour pitch, and Trumbo goes after it. Way outside on it. And it's 0-2.
Yeah, this year coming in, and now it's even. It's 62 in the air and 62 on the ground. Normally, he's a little bit better than that.
0-2 delivery on the way. Trumbo watches that one go by, and the count goes to 1-2. You talk about quieting a crowd before they've even arrived. The place was pretty loud when the first pitch was thrown. All of a sudden, it's setback time. Obviously, we're just in the first inning here, but you'd rather have the 2 home runs than not if you're the Orioles. 1 ball, 2 strike count on Trumbo. And the left-hander's pitch up the middle, knocked down by Santiago. He's got to play it first. You look down to second base, but Adam, who always runs so hard, was really flying down there. So rather than take the chance, he takes the out.
Yeah, nice play in the sense you never know if it's going to get into center field. The good news for Santiago, he gets an out. The good news for the Orioles, you get a guy into scoring position. See, they're playing up the middle, so it's probably going to be a double play ball. It's going to be a 4 unassisted step on and throw him out. So the Orioles get a break there.
So now the RBI chance for Matt Wieters. Matt has faced Santiago 3 times. He has gone 0 for 3 against him. Wieters has been barreling up of late, picking up some hits and hard hit balls. Good news for Matt. He's 368 with runners in scoring position. Big number for the Oriole catcher. And Santiago wants the signs again. Perez will send him out. At second base, Vitello will hold Adam Jones pretty tight to the bag. And the pitch will be taken for a ball. Take a look at our Express Care stat.
It's kind of amazing. And of course, that RS runner in scoring position number incredibly low. Lowest for any major league pitcher in the last 40 years.
Wieters will wait. Express Care, a LifeBridge Health partner. Visit locations. Go to whywaitinther.com. Yeah, his career number is 186 with runners in scoring position, and that's even lower, a little bit higher. This year's number even lower than that. Really phenomenal number. Wieters will take the pitch away. Santiago really having to work here. 23 pitches thrown already in the first inning. Wieters has hit .217 against the lefties, .269 off righties. I would love a base hit here to give the Orioles that 3rd run. Diving back in, but no throw made. Orioles, of course, have been a very good 2-out RBI team all season. They've had the 1 or 2 average in these situations for most of the year. That one up that he's going to pull, and it'll be a foul ball.
Yeah, he's not overpowering enough, Hector Santiago, to not change speeds. Pitch a little bit backwards right there. Change up. It was up, middle of the plate. Matt out in front of it. But you know, you always talk about big outs, and this is one for the Angels right here. And of course, Orioles certainly like to add another run here.
Big moments come at different times here, and this is one of them. Santiago just does not look very comfortable out there.
Well, I think part of it is, if you've ever been out there, you don't like to throw back-to-back home runs, but you did it, and you don't want to give up another run. Problem is, if you pitch too carefully, you got Jonathan Scope waiting on deck, and he's been hitting well.
And that one is put up in the air left field. That one was off the end of the bat into foul territory. It'll be run down by Ortega. Wieters is retired, but the Orioles jump out with the long ball. Rickard, the leadoff batter, gets his 4th. Manny Machado is first against the left-hander, his 12th of the year. Celebrate. 2-0 Orioles. They'll score runs, they hit home runs. I mean, that's just what they are. That's the way they're built. And Rickard and Machado do that in the first inning to give the Orioles a 2-0 lead. The Angels, though, have been hitting. This may be an offensive ball game. Escobar, Calhoun, Trout, Pujols, Cron, Giavotella, Ortega, Perez, and Petit. And you see what he's done in the 8-game hit streak. Big average.
Yeah, scorching hot for Johnny. And, of course, Mike Wright doesn't get a lot of run support, 3.47. So they got him 2. Come out. I mean, he's coming off his best start of the season. That was against the Tigers, threw a lot of strikes, pitched 7 innings. And again, the numbers that really get you, you know, how will he do against left-handed batters? 371.
Fortunately, there aren't a lot in the lineup, Jim. That's first ball hitting. Jonathan Scopes got it, and Escobar and a pitch is retired.
Take a look at the Oriole defense, and boy, you'll take those couple of hoppers to Scope. Raimo, Jones, Rickard, that's your outfield. Giannis, Machado, Scope, and then Chris Davis over at first. A couple of gold gloves behind the plate, Matt Wieters. And the big question that the Angels were asking is, how's Matt Wieters throwing? And the answer is pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah. Yep. Not to mention, as you mentioned, the hitting.
Cole Calhoun coming up. This is one of the hot bats in this lineup. He has been stinging it. Orioles will play Giannis even with the bag at third. Calhoun will take the pitch for a ball. Calhoun, the left-hander, and Ortega, the left-hander. Those are the 2 lefties in this predominantly right-handed hitting Angels lineup. So that does benefit, as Jim said, 26-year-old Mike Wright, the Orioles starter. I mean, the difference is just unbelievable in average. That ball in the air to right field. They may have one of their own. Back of the wall and up off the top. In play. Going down to second base, and in with a double is Calhoun. Rickard went back, and that was this close to being out.
Yeah, Cole can't believe it that the ball didn't get out. I mean, that was a rocket. Hit 26 of them last year.
And maybe it did go out.
Well, you know, somebody reached over, and maybe Mike Sosa is saying, did you really get a good look? Maybe you want to take another look.
You have to ask for the umpire to take a look at it. You can't challenge this. It's up to the umpire's crew chief discretion as to whether or not that ball actually went out. So the first thing they're going to do is meet. Dale Scott, the first base umpire, is the crew chief, and they agree they're going to take a look to see whether or not this ball actually was out of the yard.
Yeah, because if you reach over and you touch the ball, if it's in the stands, no, they're not going to change that. I mean, it's very close, but I tell you what, I would find it very difficult with a glove right on that yellow line. If you're in New York, to say that ball was going to hit above the line.
Yeah.
Now it's another 6 inches higher. You probably may get the call changed.
At least here there is a very good distinct line to work from to where that ball was going. So New York's taking a look at this.
You know, it's kind of interesting. Their assistant batting coach is the guy by the name of Paul Sereno. The first home run ever hit in Camden Yards, Paul Sereno hit it in game number 2.
How about that?
And he said, he was talking about it today. I said, you know, you are the first home run. He said, yeah, the fan reached over. You know, what, 7-8 foot wall in left field. It was the left center.
Well, there's no question the fan had the ball in the glove. There's no question about that. The question is, would the ball have gone over even if the fan had not touched it? And I agree with Jim. I don't think it would have.
Well, it doesn't mean they won't think otherwise, but it just didn't appear that it was high enough, or it was definitively high enough to change the call.
You saw Buck shaking his head. He,
see, I mean, it looks that's a, you know, I mean, again, it's a top spin line drive. It's very close.
Yeah, it's very close. That could hit the top of the gray area and go into the seats. But how do you make a judgment call on that? Just flip a coin.
Well,
right?
but that's my point. The rule is supposed to be, unless you see something you can overturn, the call's supposed to stand, and that would be. But again, it could go either way.
And Buck says there should be a 30-second clock on me and a 30-second clock on New York on these reviews. And the commissioner talked about this, in fact, just a couple of days ago, that they are looking at how they can shorten these reviews because some of them have just gotten out of hand, and it's taking too long to get a decision rendered. And now you got the problem of Wright out there with a good start. He throws a couple of pitches. Now he's walking around a mound, and he throws a couple more. You're just waiting here, and it just disrupts the entire pattern. And this is a fairly long review. And second base it is. Would not have gone over according to the review, so it'll end up being what it is. Calhoun is on at second base. Oh, the Angels get a runner on with one down. So I've got to ask on that. When you have a challenge, you don't overturn it unless there's convincing evidence. But I'm not sure the same standard applies when it's a crew chief's discretion. And I'm not sure New York doesn't look at a crew chief's request de novo, like there was no call, and make the call. I don't know that. But I have a feeling that's what they do on those on the crew chief's review. So complicated. And then you see Wright throws a wild pitch. And I guarantee you Buck is down there right now going, he was rolling, he was on, now we delayed it, now it's like starting all over again.
Yeah, you come out of the bullpen, and especially if you're Mike Wright, who, not emotional issues, but he's a high-strung guy. You come out, you're all charged up. Boy, you're kind of rolling. You get Escobar to bounce at the first pitch, get a ball in the middle of the plate, ball gets hit hard. Now you got arguably one of the best players in baseball coming up.
Mike Trout inside out. That'll go to first. Ryan coming home. Davis is going to try and get him. Wheater's there. He's out. How many times have we seen that already this year at first base from Chris Davis? As good as anybody down there at first base in making the play to the plate, which is not, number one, an easy decision and not an easy throw.
So well, he takes a look, and that's how he judges it. He knows he's got a good arm. It's not something they just accidentally do. The ball's hit sharp. You think it's going to score a run. It's not that Calhoun hesitated at all. Nice tag, nice throw. And again, that's how you keep runs from scoring.
Talk about the Gold Glove at first base, the way he has played so far, and yes, it's early. But I don't know you could find anybody who's done a better job down there than Chris Davis. Oh, big play. Trout's on at first on the fielder's choice, and now here is Pujols, 2 down.
Well, the other thing is, I mean, it takes some guts.
Yeah.
Because the easy thing is, hey, we're up 2-0, it's first inning. But again, if you pride yourself in defense, you're willing to take that risk because you've done it, you've worked at it, and then again catches it, makes the perfect throw. And then Wheater's terrific at tagging runners out.
Pitch will miss away. Pujols, who started out cold, has really heated up. the DH. Last 8 games hitting .375. He is 12 for 32. He has had 2 home runs and 9 RBIs over the last 8 games for the veteran. Wright trying to get out of the inning. Trout at first base. Breaking ball bounces. Wieder's able to keep it close enough so Trout will stay where he is. Trout has also been stealing some bases. That is 117th career stolen base recently, and moved into 10th place on the Angels all-time stolen base list. 2 ball, 1 strike count. Of course, you do not want to take the bat out of Pujols' hand.
Yeah, I think that's one of the problems. I mean, certainly the ability to steal bases.
Wright outside with that one at 82. And will fall behind on Pujols 3-1.
You can see, I mean, that's pretty broad power zone, and he's going to try to get one with a 3-1 count in that particular area.
Trout not a big lead over there at first base. 3-1 delivery by Wright, and that's going to be down low. So both pitchers having first innings they just as soon not have. They walk. We'll put 2 on now with 2 down.
Well, you can walk guys, you know, just on reputation. So there you go, bases empties, runners on. The RISP numbers, the runners in scoring position numbers, actually pretty good. But again, the guy coming to the plate has hit what, 394 runners in scoring position.
One of the best numbers going. Yep. He too has been on a tear. Last 25 games hitting .338. Real extended period for him too. Strike taken on the outside corner. And we'll see whether or not Wright can work his way out of this. The Orioles have the 2-0 lead. Play at the plate has denied a run. A very event-packed first inning for both of these teams. 0-1 delivery on the way. That one to first. Davis has got it. He'll go to the bag himself. Perfectly positioned. And that will do it. No runs on 1 hit, no errors. 2 are left on base. Orioles lead it 2-0. Kanowiski from Brooklyn Park. $500 for being selected. $500 more for every Orioles home run hit tonight. You already have $1,000. They've already hit 2. Actually, you have $1,500. You get the 5 for entering and the 2 for the homers there. Play Home Run Rich's scratch-offs and win up to $50,000. Enter non-winning tickets for a chance to be the contestant of the game. Go to mdlottery.com/baseball. Let's say good luck, Jan, but you already have good luck. And we're only in the 2nd inning. And the pitch will be taken for a strike. Now we'll see if these 2 pitchers settle down, as often happens after the first inning of a ball game. Giovatello, red hot 8-game hit streak coming in, or rather for the Orioles. Jonathan Scope, who's had a 1 for 3. He too has been hot at the plate during the homestand. finishing up with a 306 average over the last 20 ball games. And off the end of the bat and foul. Our Jeep inside the numbers.
Oh, there you go. And talking about where you rank in second baseman all time. So that, I tell you, not a lot of guys, because you know Babe Ruth was what, 11. One of the big home run guys, but couldn't play second base like Jonathan Scope defensively.
And there is strikeout number 2 for Hector Santiago.
Boy, this all comes down to the first strike. You know, John Tumpane, the home plate umpire, looks like he's calling the high strike. So again, when you get to 2 strikes, and that helps Santiago get there, you're going to chase.
So first out recorded. Santiago retires 70% of leadoff batters. Good number. Nolan Reimold. And Reimold will start it out with a strike. Giannis waiting on deck. Reimold getting the start. He has hit Santiago before. It's a ballpark in which he has hit .263 with a couple of home runs. And he's got the left-hander on the mound. He's hitting .300 against lefties. That'll get you in the lineup. Put all that together. 79-mile-an-hour pitch down low to him. Reimold with a 1-ball 2-strike count.
Yeah, plus he's a good defender. You're going to make Mike Wright better. You're going to put somebody out in the outfield that can go run him down.
And a ground ball, not hit that hard. Petit will make the play and just got him close. Play at first.
Yeah, even though he has trouble getting it out of his glove, he's able to, with a nice throw, get the speedy Nolan Reimold. Right there, a little hesitation. Almost looked like he didn't have a handle on it. And then Crone, a big guy, nice stretch over at first.
And tough play. And a right call by Dale Scott. So 2 down. And Paul Giannis at the plate. Giannis getting the start again at third base. And he'll take the pitch inside. He's not had a hit against a lefty, but only 5 at bats so far. 1-0 delivery to him will be taken, and that one's going to miss down low. For Giannis, only the 3rd game he's appeared in. He's only had 7 at bats. Looking for his first hit since being called up from Norfolk, where he was really hitting, leading the International League in a lot of offensive categories.
And playing every day, and that makes a big difference.
Yep. Santiago with the 3-0 delivery. He'll take it, and it's inside. Well, the number 9 hitter draws a walk with 2 down. Celebrate Memorial Day at the ballpark. The Birds are going to be home on Monday, May 30, and the Red Sox will be there for a 1:35 game. All fans are going to receive the Orioles Memorial Day T-shirt. So kick off summer with a great day at the Yard. Get your tickets at Orioles.com or 888-848-BIRD. 1 on, 2 away. Rickert the home run, leading off. And he'll take the pitch for a strike.
Yeah, fastball outside third, and I mean, it looked like he knew it was coming. And then smoked it to left center field. And then, of course, what's he come back with the next time? A changeup.
Hitting .282 off left-handers, 2 home runs off southpaws. 2 down. Giannis off first base. High strike call that time.
Yeah, and you know, you look at John Tumpane, he looks like he's a tall umpire. So again, he's going to favor the ball up in the zone.
Santiago ahead here, 0-2. And that one we'll jackknife him away a little bit. And a 1-ball 2-strike count. Giannis being held at first base. Not a base stealer. Rickert with the outfield straight away on him. Santiago looking, a 1-2 delivery, and that'll be in the dirt. That one skips. Good stop made by Perez.
It's kind of, I always thought it was one of the more important things when you're pitching against a new hitter. And you know, Rule 5 guy, Rickert had to make the club stay here, is that where's his power? So he knows that. And now he's trying to stay away from that zone. And I think word is on Joey Rickard, he can hit the fastball, especially out over the plate.
And he does again to center field. Trout going back at the wall and makes the catch. Right at the top of the wall. Trout's specialty. Reel them in when they might go out. Rickard bidding for his second home run. Trout's got it. Orioles up 2-0. The ball, a fan reached out, tried to grab, ended up being a double. Calhoun, however, he'd get thrown out at the plate after a wild pitch. Runner moved up, Wright trying to find a way out. He got one on the ground ball by Davis, back to the plate for the out. Amazing. And then the Orioles with the back-to-back home runs. Rickard and Machado solo home runs first inning. 8th time this year the Orioles have had back-to-back home runs in a ball game. And we're only in the bottom of the second inning.
You know, it almost like Trout looked at where Chris Davis was playing and said, I'll just inside out one, which he did. And then Chris very alertly, confidently, perfect throw, perfect tag. Otherwise they get a run on the board.
Giovatello will take the ball outside. Talked about his hot bat. 8-game hit streak coming in. He is 0 for 3 in the only times he has faced Wright. Mike Wright's delivery, a breaking ball that'll miss a little bit outside.
Yeah, they're trying to establish that pitch. That and then an occasional changeup.
During the 8-game hit streak, hitting .382.
Well,
5 RBIs.
Yeah, scorching.
And he'll chop that one off his foot. Do a little hopscotch.
I told him, don't step on the grass. You're going to leave footprints. You're so high. I was talking to Dave Hansen, their hitting instructor, and I said, what's the difference? What he hit 178 or 182 in April and 353 in May. He said a little more selective, not chasing as much.
And that one will be fouled back. Already hitters noting, as Jim did, you've got high strikes being called in this ball game, sir. You take a risk if you let a pitch like that go by when you got a 2-strike count. So he chose not to try and get enough of it to foul it off, which he did. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Leadoff batter, bottom of the second. Wright's delivery grounded to short. Manny Machado up. Davis the little stretch and the out recorded. Let's take a look at our Maryland Live Casino. Inside the numbers.
Oh, there you go. Most strikeouts by rookies, and you can see Mike Wright up there on the list. Gibbons, of course, a reliever, and then the Orioles know certainly I know about Ryan Dahl, but they also know about Michael Fulmer. Pitched pretty well. That Sunday game, the one game of the 4-game series that the Tigers were able to win against the Orioles in Baltimore.
Oh, Wright trying to settle it in. Ortega. Breaking ball will be taken inside. This is the other left-hander in the lineup. Rafael Ortega. Pretty good batting average, you see, that he's put up.
Yeah, you look at all his numbers coming up through the minor leagues. 288 minor league average. That's a nice eye there, right there. He'll get Giannis in at third, but looks like he's a plus defensive player. Real good arm. In fact, the final out of the first inning made a very good read, very easily to get fooled on a ball off the end of the bat off of Matt Wieters.
And we'll foul that one away. He's been up twice already. Of course, Angels 10 players on the DL right now. He came up Tuesday for the second time this year and made his first major league appearance since October of 2012 when he was with Colorado. So he'd been playing minor league ball since then for the call up this year.
Yeah, they have what, 7 guys on the DL and important players.
Yeah, I think they added to it. I think they're up to 10 now. Down to third. That's going to be a base hit. Perfectly placed. Reimold will go into foul territory. His throw to second base will skip away, backed up by Davis, and a double for Ortega.
Yeah, you got to know what you are as a hitter, and obviously, through the minor leagues, never hit a lot of home runs. Just good pitch. I mean, they're playing off the line. That's what they do now. I mean, you would be playing that close anyway. And then Nolan makes a nice play to get to it, but the speed factor, it'll get by him. But Chris Davis backing up the play. So that's just make contact. If you strike out, we got to note what they have the least amount of strikeouts of any team in the American League, and that's a perfect example. You swing through that pitch, you're out. You put it in contact, got a chance to put a run on the board.
So they get a runner at second base, only one away. Perez will take the pitch for a strike. Carlos Perez, who is doing the catching out of Venezuela, 25 years old. Last year hit .250 in some 260 at bats with the Angels. Split time with the Angels in AAA. He's got that one down the line. Reimold's not going to get it. That'll roll, take a hop off that short wall into second base with an RBI double. Carlos Perez makes it a 2-1 game.
Well, there's your hanging curveball. I told him, you're so hot. He hit his first major league home run against the Dodgers. We're going to pitch around you to get to Mike Trout. He just kind of laughed at me, but boy, what a pitch to hit. He doesn't miss it. So it's going to feel like we're in Vegas double night right here. Oh.
Yep. Both teams.
Well, you got what, 3 hits against Mike Wright tonight, and all of them are extra bases.
So Gregorio Petit will have the opportunity to tie it up. He is a shortstop. Starter injured, 31-year-old veteran. Last year he played 20 games with the Yankees and spent time at AAA. Only one away, and the pitch will be taken outside for a ball. The Angels on the year as a club hitting .277 with runners in scoring position. That is 4th best in the American League. 2-1 Orioles lead, and in danger of losing it here in the second inning. Now it'll go to third base. Giannis will hold the runner, makes the throw, and gets the out. 2 down, runner stays at second. Well, don't miss your final chance to take advantage of Birdland's best family value. It's the Junior Orioles Dugout Club. Kids 14 and under get a choice of 2 5-game packages, game tickets, club hats, sunglasses, and more. And friends and family members on those club days can get tickets for as little as $6. That's Orioles.com/dugout club. 2 down, Petit on at second base, and Escobar, grounded out his first time up, will stand in. Yanel Escobar with the RBI chance. Defense straight up on Escobar. Big month in May, 348 is average so far. One of the many Angels that's really picked the pace up here in this month of May.
Yeah, everybody gets hurt. They've won 6 out of 7. Bullpen, a lot of names you've never heard of, but they're pitching well. Houston Street, their closers on the DL.
Wright's delivery I asked Mike Scioscia before the game. I said, Mike, I mean, through all of this, what's been your biggest surprise? And he thought about it for a long time. And then Mike said, you know something? We're still waiting for it. And I thought that was a good answer. He said, we got all these guys. We don't know yet who we are. I do know one thing, he said. Even though we have so many people on the DL, I look at my ball club. I like our club right now. But he said, I think the biggest surprise we're going to have is when we start getting people back and what the club's going to look like then.
You know, C.J. Wilson, their left-hander, who last year elbow problems, this year shoulder problems. He did a simulated game, second one he's done in the last 6-7 days. I was out early. He actually looked pretty good.
3-0 count with 2 down. Runner off second base, taking all the way. That'll be there at the knees.
Well, Escobar, we know him as a shortstop, in Tampa, Toronto, Atlanta, but last year he kind of made a name for him playing for the Nationals. Had a terrific year playing third base.
3-ball 1-strike count on him. There are 2 down. Wright's delivery. Escobar grounds it to third. Pollyannish will play it on the big hop. Guns it over. Davis had to do the stretch, but he held the bat, and they get the out. So a run in on a couple of hits, no errors, and 1 left on, 2 complete. Orioles have a 2-1 lead. Full moon night. Going to open up our Major League Notebook and take a look at streaks. How about this one? Jake Arrieta is pitching against Jake Peavy against the Giants in a game being played tonight and looking to continue that win streak. It's at 18. Carl Hubble, Elroy Face, Rube Marquardt, and Roger Clemens are the only ones who have a longer streak in Major League history since 1900.
And he gets to in San Francisco.
Yep.
Always a nice place to pitch.
Zip zip, by the way, in that ball game in the second inning. Orioles Manny Machado, and he will take the pitch. Manny delivered a home run, his 12th. The Orioles had the back-to-back home runs to open up the first inning. Santiago's delivery to him will be way inside. But a lot of players now with 12 home runs. The Chris Davis of Oakland, Frazier, Trumbo, Cano, and now Machado all have 12, leading the American League in homers. What was that?
Well, he steps away, and usually that pitch is called a strike. I mean, what's your frame of reference? There isn't any.
No, ball 3. He didn't get the timeout that apparently he was asking for.
Oh.
And then winds up for another home run.
Well, that was going to be number 13. Yeah, he gets behind him 3-1 and then goes up on the grass. There's a good pitch. The one thing about Hector Santiago, his average fastball is around 91.5, but I was talking to Mark Gubasov next door. He said and we've seen him tonight, he'll get into the mid-90s, but not that often.
And he wanted to, but stayed away, and as a result, he's going to be on. Deep inside the numbers regarding this ballpark. A lot having to do with the home team, of course. Fifth most home runs.
Fifth, and runs most, 7. Now there's 15 teams in the American League, and again, ERA a little bit higher than the norm. Well, this used to be a park that the only time the ball really carried was in the daytime, like Sunday afternoon games. But it didn't seem like it hurt the 2 home runs the Orioles hit.
Adam Jones, boy, the Orioles are really swinging from their heels. These Santiago pitches have to be looking like watermelons a lot of times with the way the Orioles are reacting to those cuts.
Yeah, he hasn't established pretty much anything maybe other than a changeup down in the zone.
Adam Jones drew the walk, first of 3. Santiago with one of those dangerous leadoff walks here to Manny Machado. Jones and Davis and Trumbo. Adam, a broken bat, fly ball, not deep left field. Ortega, shortstop Petit. Petit goes back, puts it away, and back to first base goes Manny Machado. Catch everything all season long by following Masson Orioles on Twitter. Check out highlights of the game and go behind the scenes and enter to win exclusive prizes. That's at Masson Orioles on Twitter. One down. Machado remains on at first. That'll bring Davis up. Chris called out on strikes. His first time up. So now 2 for 9 with a home run of Hector Santiago. And Chris with a big cut and a good delivery. Foul tipped into the mitt.
Now there's your changeup down in the zone. And again, Adam Jones, you get guys on, can you advance them? Can you get them in scoring position? You can put more pressure on the opposing pitcher, which happens to be Hector Santiago.
Davis gets into one, but just missed. Calhoun and Wright will settle underneath and put it away, 2 down.
Yeah, he's walking off towards shortstop because he knows he got away with something. Talking about Hector Santiago, like a hanging slider, maybe some breaking type of pitch stayed up, and you can see him shaking his head. That was where there's your luck factor.
Survival.
Yes. Sometimes you get outs on balls that are destined for the seats.
That'll bring Trumbo up. Coming into the game, Santiago 61% of the time threw that 4-seam fastball averaging 92 miles an hour, but you have to move more to the changeup Jim's talking about, which he rarely throws. Cutter he doesn't use very much. Slider he doesn't use very much. It's been fastball, changeup.
You try to mix in all your pitches, and of course that first inning, back-to-back home runs, both on high fastballs. That'll get to thinking maybe you need to establish some other pitches. And he's done it here in this inning.
Trumbo way out in front. Trumbo grounded out his first time up. Mark, of course, having called this his home ballpark, played a lot of games here. Carries a .256 lifetime batting average in this ballpark. 46 home runs here.
Yeah, well, he grew up very close to here. You know, Chris Tillman, of course, said he was born just around the corner and then lived in Fountain Valley.
A lot of families here. 0-2 the count. The breeze has picked up a little more, blowing out to left field as we've moved along here in the first 3 innings. Santiago will make the toss over. Crone holds the bag in a very unusual way. You see him at first base. He doesn't, either right or left-handed batters, he doesn't get on the bag. He plays in a step and off a step and a half.
Well, you try to take the angle away. You know, he's going to come off the bag right away, but then again, he's also close enough in case.
High in the air to left field. He got a lot of it going back. Ortega, and goodbye, home run. Trumbo delivers number 47 in this ballpark. A 2 RBI homer, and the Orioles have a 4-1 lead.
Yeah, I think it short hopped their bench and their bullpen on one little hop. Yeah, join the party.
"13 home runs and 31 RBIs. He's taken over the lead in the American League on a 418-foot homer. and one of those towering shots.
Well, this is the game of living dangerously for Hector Santiago. I mean, you're up in the zone again. We talked about all night long, and again, when Mark hits him, it's because they go so far. That's just a towering fly ball that, I mean, you can just tell the sound. And it's going to go all the way to their bullpen on one hop.
So the Orioles have a 3-homer game, and we're in the 3rd inning. And Mark Trumbo delivers one that the Oriole teammates always talk about. That's what he does in batting practice. And now Santiago upset at the home plate umpire, and Don Tumpane took his mask off and started out and just tossed him out of the game. Wow.
That's a little cannot believe he did that. I mean, he didn't come off the mound. I mean, the young outfielder, I mean, he said, come on.
All of the umpires moving in here to separate.
Well, they had probably 38 to 45,000 people that came to see Santiago pitch tonight. And if you can't express, that's hard to believe. It's just a very impulsive move by the umpire. And I'm sure Mike Scioscia, former catcher, 17th year here, is going to tell him that. What does that do to your bullpen?
For today, tomorrow,
exactly.
Sunday.
It's just, listen, you know, there has to be a little bit of a leash. And it's not like he came off the mound. I mean, if you're that touchy as an umpire.
Second career ejection for Santiago first this season.
Santiago. There you see the discussion before he got thrown out with the home plate umpire. And it looks like he's saying, I warned him 3 times. I mean, I don't know. I didn't think Tumpane had done anything call wise that was.
No,
I mean, he was the high strikes.
Well, again, I think, you know, he doesn't want to pitch up in the zone, and he was. He got a lot of high strikes. It's just, I just think there's a certain sensibility of, unless the guy's going to show up, unless he's going to come off the mound. And Mike Scioscia is not happy. And I don't blame him.
Yeah, this is really tough. We're only in the 3rd inning. Mike Morin.
Well, the other thing is, you think the Orioles want Santiago to leave? They've already hit 3 home runs.
True. You think maybe Santiago wanted to leave?
No, I'm sure he was frustrated.
Yeah,
I mean, you start the game off back-to-back home runs. You're trying to settle down. I mean, right now he's talking to Dale Scott and trying to say, you know, this is the big leagues. People came out to see him pitch. I don't mean you can get away with flipping your bat or all that kind of stuff, or walking off the mound or showing them up, but.
The Santiago's 2nd ejection. That's a lot for a pitcher. All right, going to get a pitching change. Brought to you by Jiffy Lube, where participating stores now do brake services. Stop in and let Jiffy Lube inspect your brakes today. pitch. Dumping, the home plate umpire, takes the mask off. Santiago had said something. Turns away. Santiago says something else. And he throws him out.
Well, he kept gesturing. And those are the numbers. And as we mentioned, they're not good ones. Started the game out back-to-back high fastballs to Rickard and Machado, and then the high fastball to Trumbo. So you will now put pressure on Mike Morin. And, we've seen him over the years. Again, this bullpen, I mean, they pitched 4 1/3 innings. Again, their skipper Mike Socha was saying, we went through a string, 18 games. Our starters barely got us into the 5th to 6th innings. So this is another one of those.
Yeah.
Again, you can see the numbers. Strike out almost per inning. Doesn't walk a whole lot of guys. Not overpowering. Fastball around 91. He's got a good change up, a little slider. Change ups all the way 20 miles per hour slower. You can see the numbers pretty good. Fly ball pitcher. We'll see how that plays out against a home run hitting lineup like the Orioles.
25 years old. Mike Morin will come on having yielded 6 runs in his last 2 appearances. And for Mike Socha, this is really this is going to be a tough one. This is about managing the bullpen the rest of the way through this ball game, because his club has had to use that bullpen in the Dodgers series they just finished, as Jim said. And now this is what Buck Showalter talks about a lot. You got to manage 2 or 3 games down the road now as to how you go the rest of the way in this game.
Well, you're hoping. I mean, he's seething inside. And maybe a little bit at Santiago too, because he gets himself thrown out. But I'm not sure that he really provoked getting tossed this early. But again, if you're Mike Socha, you want Mike Morin to go as long as you possibly can.
Well, let's take a look at our PNC inside the numbers as Morin gets ready. A look at this ball club.
Well, there you go. Winning percentage. Now they won 6 out of 7, so the average 6 runs per game down. Team RA in the middle of the pack, and home runs allowed 5th most.
And we begin again. Matt Wieters will take the pitch for a strike. The count was 3-0, and Santiago left. Obviously upset about that. There are 2 down. Nobody on. Orioles 2-run homer by Trumbo in the inning. Wieters is going to greet him with a base hit into right field. So on the 3-1, Matt Wieters picks up a base hit. Coming with 2 down. He is 1 for 2 in the ball game, and the Orioles keep the inning alive. What a strange game.
Well, for the Angels, the good news for them is that it's only the 3rd inning. They trail by 3. And the Orioles certainly an opportunity, as the Angels have to add more runs. Fully capable of doing that.
Here is Jonathan Scope. Jonathan down to 3rd and foul. The ballpark he's really liked to hit in. He's a .318 hitter here in Anaheim, and he's had 2 home runs in this ballpark, and they are the only 2 that he's had against the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. 0-1 count, 2 down. Wieters on at first base. Puts one up in the air to left field. Ortega will make the catch, and that'll do it. But the Orioles pick up a couple of runs on 2 hits. Lead-off walk to Manny Machado, and with 2 down, Trumbo brings him home. 2 RBI shot and an Oriole 4-1 lead. A cold one to look forward to Miller time later in our ball game, brought to you by Miller Lite. Gary Thorne and Jim Palmer with you, and a heck of a start. Orioles have the 4-1 lead. They've already hit 3 home runs. Trumbo taking the league lead with his shot, 13, and Mike Wright staked to a 4-1 lead, but has had trouble holding the Angels down early. They've got a run on 3 hits.
He keeps all his hits. All 3 of them are doubles.
Calhoun had 1 of them. Bottom half of the 3rd inning. And Calhoun will take the pitch for a strike.
Yeah, that's the amazing thing. 7 hits already, 3 doubles and 3 home runs. Who got that little meek? Oh, that was Wieters.
Wieters.
A little line drive single. Shame on him.
In this game. Here's the 0-1 delivery by Wright. That's hit hard and foul outside of first base. Calhoun has raised his average from 256 to 291. That covers an 18-game span in which he has hit 349.
Well, he's a good player. I mean, relatively young, first Gold Glove. We mentioned 26 home runs. He's a player.
And the pitch will be taken inside. Wright getting his 7th start, 8th appearance. The club has gone 3-3 in the ball games he has started. Long look in and a timeout asked for by Calhoun. He's working. Mike is on 5 days rest. First time he's done that this year. In his career, he's had a couple of starts with the extra day. No record. Foul tipped, held on to.
Well, that's the one you talked about. Sometimes you get away with the pitch that's not where you want to throw it. Wieters, look where the glove is. Look where the ball ends up. So he misses by about what, 3 feet? Hanging change up. Can get the foot down, trying to time it. And swings right through it. Probably going right back to the bench now saying, how did that ever happen?
Well, that'll bring up Mike Trout. He's been hitting the long ball. He's had home runs in each of the last 2 games. Got his 10th last night. The next home run, he'll become one of 8. Have 150 home runs and 500 runs at the age of 24. And the pitch taken for a strike. Trout and Manny Machado, of course, 2 of the bright stars of baseball, getting to match up in this 3-game set. 1 ball, 1 strike count, straight up D. And Trout with a big home run swing.
Yeah, you go back to Mike Wright's major league debut, start against the Angels. That pitch right there with a couple more miles per hour struck him out in the 1st inning, and then would go down to Miami to his first 2 starts until his last start were the best starts of his major league. And he tries to go up the ladder. He can throw in the upper 90s. Doesn't always do it.
2 ball, 2 strike count from Wright. Trout with the 0 for 4. And his times to the plate against the Orioles started. Here's the 2-2 delivery. Trout will take it outside, full count.
Yeah, he just gets going. When we talk about Mike Wright, he gets down the rubber, and it's hard to throw that breaking ball for a strike because you're going left. And you can see he's not a easy going, laid back guy. Everything's pretty hyper. Wind-up's hyper.
3-2 delivery, jammed him right off the fist. Machado up, hurries it, and will get the out. Now you're talking about the debut, Jim. Take a look back. This is Mike Wright, his major league debut.
Afternoon game. And that's what I was talking about, 98. I mean, he just blew the ball right by him. David Freese down. Again, great stuff. Giovatello. So had great that stuff. And
he went 7 1/3 innings. Gave up just 4 hits and struck out 6 on that debut May 17 against the Angels. Infield will play to pull. Pujols 2 down. Nobody on.
It's sometimes ignorance is bliss. And do you ever skied and you ski a black diamond? And if you're really not a novice skier, and then you get down the bottom and you look back up and you go, how did I ever do that? Well, you don't do it again. because
right.
you're going. So
let me tell you what else happens. If you do that and you stop halfway and you look up,
oh no,
you go sideways down the rest of the mountain.
On your rear end.
It won't matter. Just get down there.
Well, we used to ski, in Aspen, and to get down to the lift that was at the top of the mountain, you had to ski at 9:30 in the morning when there's a little bit of ice and shade.
2-1 delivery on the way, and the breaking ball outside, and there's that emotion you talk about. Wright did a 360, banged his shoulders, and that one just got away from him, and the count goes to 3-1.
Well, you got a 4-1 lead. He's trying to establish his curveball, and of course he established in the middle of the plate. Perez, he had a double, and it cost him a run. But his best pitch is his fastball.
3-1 delivery on the way, and that's a strike at the knees, and Albert will come back.
And that ball, it's not even borderline. Mike Socia not happy because his starter got tossed. And look at the glove, look at the pitch. That's right around the kneecaps. Could it be called low? Has it been?
3-2 delivery. Pujols will foul it back.
There's 97. See, I always thought when you have the kind of arm that Mike Wright was blessed with, that is your number one pitch, and everything revolves around that. If you're throwing 95 to 97, they're going to swing a lot more breaking balls.
3-2, and he went out there and gets him.
So that's Powder River.
The 1-2-3 inning, including a couple of strikeouts. He goes through Calhoun, Trout, and Pujols, all hot hitters. Orioles lead. All-wheel drive and unexpected performance. Visit buyatoyota.com. Orioles up 4 runs, 4 hits for the O's, a run on 3 hits for the Angels. Each team has left 3 on base. Hector Santiago, the starter, thrown out of the ball game in the 3rd inning with 2 down after giving up a home run to Trumbo and falling behind on Wieters. 3-0. So Morin out of the bullpen. Gave up a single and got the final out in the last inning. Be taken for a strike. Nolan Reimold, who rarely goes after that first pitch. He grounded out his first time up.
Hey, watch Mike Trout. He was notorious. Of course, if you're pitching, you really don't know it. I mean, if you look at film and all that, but just don't know that's going to be the night he decides to be aggressive early.
Yep. Trout will do that early, trying to drive a long fastball out of the yard. 0-2 count. He went around on that last one, and pitch will be outside by Morin. So the reliever is going to try and give his ball club some innings. 1-2 delivery on the way. Reimold on the off-speed pitch, no chance.
Well, there's the changeup. That's 21 miles per hour slower than his fastball. Maybe not his average fastball, but I mean, look at this. And he really sells it well. And again, if you're Nolan Reimold, you can see how far out in front he was from that angle. He's he's looking to pick the ball up out of the hand of Michael Morin, and just can't do it. At least he couldn't do it there.
Morin has not worked more than 2 innings, and he did that, matching his career high on Wednesday. Here's Paul Janisch. Paul got one. That's in the gap. Trout going back. Has time, and he's gone. A couple of quick outs here in the 4th inning. Visit Orioles.com/vote orange. The All-Star Game votes now. If you vote 5 times, select the O's as your favorite team. You're entered to win the All-Star Game jersey signed by the Oriole All-Stars. Vote at least 20 with the O's selected, and you get a promo code for a buy one, get one free for any of the games in the July series against the Rockies. Vote now. Orioles.com/vote orange. 2 down, nobody on. Rickard at the top will take it for his strike. He has had a home run, leadoff homer, his first leading a ball game off home run, and his 4th of the year. And he almost got another one. His 2nd time up, as Trout had to go back and pull one in at the top of the wall. That's quite a changeup he just saw.
Well, you don't, they always talk about, okay, maybe the least amount of difference between your fastball and your changeup, 7-8 miles per hour. This one's 20.
Set up outside, try and get him to swing at a non-strike. Ooh, that one got away.
There's another one. Or maybe it was a slider. But one of the great changeup pitchers when I got to the major leagues in '65 was Stu Miller. And he jerked the neck, and the ball would take forever to get up there. It was almost impossible to hit.
1-2 delivered.
So 93 seems like it's about 100. Nice ability to change speeds. But you're right. I mean, he got to go all the way back before last week, all the way back to April 8th when he pitched more than an inning.
But a 1-ball, 2-strike count. Breaking ball will be in the dirt. Mike Morin is a 24-year-old out of Leawood, Kansas. Pitched last year with the Angels and at AAA Salt Lake, and had a 4-2 record with the Angels. 47 games off the end of the bat. Gonna have to hustle this throw. The teed in the dirt. Did he get him? Yes. Dale Scott waiting to make sure the ball was handled by Crone, the umpire, the first baseman, and almost beat it up, but not quite. So it ends up being a 1-2-3 inning. Look how close this one was. And again, Dale Scott, first base umpire, right on the money. Crone coming up with it a half a step. 1-2-3 inning. Orioles lead 4-1. Brought to you by T-Mobile. We turn to our Major League Notebook East Winds page. Red Sox defeated by the Indians. Kluber, great outing over 7. Jackie Bradley Jr. hit streak up to 25. Rays beat the Tigers. Souza Jr. the 2 for 3. Cabrera had a 3 for 5 for Detroit. The Jays over the Twins 9-3. Bautista 2 for 5. Big home run. Donaldson had a 2 for 5 and a homer as well. Red Sox have now homered in 20 consecutive ball games, but lost in the game tonight. So the Orioles have a half-game lead at the moment over Boston, coming into the day tied with the Red Sox. Mike Wright's delivery. There's a broken back ground ball. Tough play, Manny Machado, and a beauty. He gets him. Crone retired.
Well, you don't see too many shortstops, even though he's primarily, till the Hardy injury, and playing third base, have to barehand the ball. And again, Crowe doesn't run that well. He gets out of the box very slowly because he breaks his bat. But again, I guess when you're Manny, you can do those kind of things and do them well.
Only if he was a third baseman, Jim, would he have played that like that, don't you think?
Exactly.
The shortstops just don't.
Well, you saw Vizquel do it but again, he had 11 Gold Gloves and probably going to get to the Hall of Fame when he's eligible.
Manny's 17th game at shortstop this year.
Well, you can just see. Mike Bardick was talking about it. You know, that internal clock will speed up the more you play there, and I think we see that.
Giovatello fouls that one off the front of the screen, and that's why they have a screen in front of the dugout.
Well, otherwise everybody be in the back of the dugout getting out of harm's way. I mean, now because of that screen, they have the bench.
Nobody sits on it.
No. Well, the back bench, but they got the front bench,
the front
which
bench,
they never had before until they put the screen up.
Mike Wright's delivery to him. Giovatello goes the other way into the corner. Rickert chases down, and there are two down. Let's take a look at our AL League leaderboard. It's brought to you by Coons.com. Over 2 million vehicles sold and counting.
Yeah, so the Orioles lead the pack, and the fact that they played 25 games, the most in Major League Baseball at home, is an amazing number. A credit to them and also their pitching coaches, Dave Wallace and Don Cheedy, that stress being able to pitch down in the zone. But you can see they have allowed 8 home runs in the last 4 games.
Wright looking for another clean inning. Ortega will take the pitch for a strike. Ortega double. RBI. Perez brought him home. Orioles back-to-back home runs to start the game. Rickert and Machado. 2-run homer by Trumbo. Again, the Orioles all 4 runs coming off the long ball so far in this ball game.
So now we go Mike Wright after the strikeout of Pujols goes to another gear. Try hitting 96 up and in. Not easy to do. You got to hit the ball so far out in front of you. It's like 101, 102 miles per hour.
0-2 delivery on the way. Ortega ground ball, and look what I got. Nice play. Cat reactions right there by Wright. He's retired 8 in a row. Last 2 innings he has set him down 1, 2, 3, and this a nice play to make the easy out at first base. Orioles lead at 4-1. Here in Anaheim, big crowd on hand and a number of Oriole fans and family members on hand to see the Orioles play here. The weekend series against the Angels, and the Orioles up 4-1 as we go to the 5th inning. Manny Machado, his 12th home run, and he has walked, 2 runs scored in the ball game. Manny came in with just a couple of hits in his last 24 times to the plate. Took care of that with a long ball in the 1st inning. He and Rickert with the back-to-back home runs.
Yeah, Adam Jones 0 for his last 11. So as you mentioned, struggling for a little offense and good pitching. The Mariners have that. I didn't even see King Felix.
No. He's apparently reinventing himself and is more of a finesse pitcher with a velocity down.
Well, it'll make hitters happy.
1-1 to the hole. Manny is on again. So Machado 3 up, 3 on.
Yeah, you just don't get away with that kind of mistake to pretty much any major league hitter, but especially Manny Machado, high ball hitter, hangs a breaking ball, and he just whacks it into left field. And you can see Escobar kind of a step behind the bag just in case he's going to bunt. I don't think so.
Nope. So Adam Jones up. He has popped out and drawn a walk in the ball game. This bullpen is going to be very active in the game tonight.
Yeah.
Bedrosian up, Cam Bedrosian.
Yeah, the hard throwing Cam Bedrosian.
Orioles leadoff man on again. Jones with a big cut on a well located fastball that was down and into Adam. Remember, Morin has not worked more than 2 innings. He did it on Wednesday, so he's trying to get through a 2nd inning here, which would give him 2 1/3 if he could do it. Santiago, the starter, got thrown out by the home plate umpire, arguing, and balls and strikes in the 3rd inning. 1 ball, 1 strike count. So Mike Soship, he's got the notebook in front of him as well as flashing the signs. Manny Machado at first base in the throw of it. Manny not expected really to run. The Orioles have only 5 stolen bases.
Yeah, this is a bigger version of the Manny Machado that stole 20 bases. Turn 24 shortly this summer.
1 ball, 1 strike count. Jones will take the pitch inside. So Adam gets ahead on the count, 2-1.
The whole world knows that Adam likes to get the arms extended out over the plate. If you hang a breaking ball, he can hit it out of here about as quickly as you can say AJ.
Breaking ball was up.
Except it got a hand a little lower, apparently. But he leaves Earth. Yeah. He's trying to hit this to where he grew up, San Diego.
That was a strike. It was in the upper part of the strike zone, but it was there. Doesn't mean it's hittable.
Well, that breaking ball usually gets you sent down to Salt Lake City. They're the AAA affiliate.
2-2 count. Again, Manny will draw the throw over at first base. And Morin trying to keep this double play in order. Adam Jones, especially when those muscles around the ribcage were bothering him, hitting into a lot of double plays. He's hit into 8, leads the team. 2-2 delivery on the way, and that's off the end of the bat and foul back. Well, the count will stay 2 balls, 2 strikes. Great to have you with us late at night on the East. Opening up the 3-game set against Anaheim. The Orioles with that .500 record on the road, looking to do better. Kevin Gausman, Matt Shoemaker work tomorrow night. 9:30 O's extra, 10 o'clock for the ball game. And there's one to left field, and he flips the bat angrily at himself. And Ortega's there to put it away. Jones is retired. Our PNC minor league report. PNC for the achiever in you.
Ryan Messenger again. He's pitching well, lowers the ERA. That's kind of a glowing earned run average, and then look what he's done this month. I want to be Ryan. 30 strikeouts in 18 1/3 innings, 1 run.
Didn't do much better than that.
No.
Pretty well shuts him down. Here's Chris Davis. He has struck out and flied out. Chris, 272 career hitter, 272 here. He's had 5 of the 10 home runs he's hit against the Angels have been in this ballpark. What a changeup.
Well, again, and you get it. Somehow you have to figure out, how do I throw that pitch with the same arm speed, and so the hitter will think it's a fastball. And the way you do it, when you were, when I was 18, they'd say drag your foot, drag that back foot, so you can't throw as hard. Stu Miller, he felt like you get it back in your hand, and it would be like you were, for the people when they used to have window shades. A lot of young people can't figure what a window shade is, but you used to pull it down. Yes. It'd be on the road. Well, we know. Yes. But anyway, you pull it down. That's the way you throw it, back in your hands. You don't use your wrist as much. Then they went to the circle changeup. You're kind of okay with it coming out of 3 fingers. And normally it's out of your index finger and your middle finger.
1-2 just missed outside. He thought he had that, didn't get the call.
Well, John Tumpain, the home plate umpire, when you're throwing at 71 miles per hour, you got plenty of time to take a look at it. And he thought it was outside.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 down. Machado with a leadoff single on at first base. And the throw over, not a big lead at all for Manny.
Well, you know what Mike Scioscia wants to do. I mean, the Orioles want to add runs. The 3 best teams coming behind with 9 each are the Rangers, the Angels, and the Orioles. They're what, 2 runs or more.
The Angels have had big comebacks of late.
So try to keep as close as you can. There's another floater.
And again, he thought he had it, and the pitch is outside. So the count goes full, 3 balls and 2 strikes.
I mean, to me, I know he didn't gesture, but he probably stared in as much as San Diego did. Umpires don't like that. Now, does that mean they should throw you out for it? Probably not.
No. But San Diego did. A lot of flashing phone lights going on here. Fortunately, not in the batter's eye area, but all over the ballpark. Runner back to first base again. See whether or not Buck wants to run Manny Machado. You would think not, with the potential for a strike him out, throw him out, double play. 3-2, 1 out. Almost behind second. Petit, the shortstop. More in a look. Runner not going. Davis takes, and this one's there. Now Davis doesn't look it.
Now trying to paint the outside corner. He finally gets the call. So 71, 73, 92 on the corner. And again, remember the edge of the ball. That's all it has to do. Plate 17 inches. Ball's a little over 2 inches in diameter. Just get an edge. Tom Payne, the home plate umpire, thought that was the case.
So again, bullpen management is going to decide this game. Bedrosian coming on.
right-handers. His dad, Steve, won a Cy Young Award in the National League. So hard thrower, 95 miles per hour, somewhere in that range. Hard slider, cutter to go with it. You can see that. 10 hits, but 15 strikeouts, only 4 walks. So you bring him in. Well, I guess if you're Mike Scioscia figuring maybe Mark Trumbo will have a little more trouble with 95.
That's funny because I was talking about that to Mike. I said, all right, where are you in this day and age on your bullpen management? He said, you manage the players individually based on what they can give you. And you don't take them to the cliff's edge, he said, and chance that they're going to take the extra step and fall off. And that's what he did here with Moore in his longest outing, 2 innings. It was last Wednesday. So he took him to the 2 innings that he knows he can get, and then takes him out and gets Bedrosian in. And he faces Trumbo, hits it hard to short, backhanded. Petit's got it, goes to second. 1 pitch, and that will end the inning. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, 1 left on. The Orioles on top 4-1. Field before the game. Dylan Bundy was the representative for the Orioles. Dylan Bundy had as a coach a former winner when he played here. That's right. He was a winner. And he told him you got to push up, pull down, and wait till you get to the second cow. Second cow kicked over the bucket. However, not a lot of milk lost. Guess who won? Yeah, Orioles win, Orioles win. And he gets a round of cheese, a wheel of cheese as a winner. And Dylan Bundy was congratulated. He had half the team out there watching him in the milking contest.
Out of his fellow bullpenners. Yeah, there you go.
It was great. It was really.
Well, you were really engrossed in this. And
I was.
Petting a cow.
I was engrossed.
It was like, don't you pet horses? I mean,
well, yeah, but you can pet cows.
Well, apparently so, because you did.
Dylan, the man who was taking care of the livestock, said to Dylan, okay, before we start here, just pat the cow so the cow knows you're here and just say something to the cow. And so Perez, he fouls that one back. So Dylan goes up to the cow and he says, hey, how are you? Nice looking guy. And I really like you. And he said, then Dylan looked at the guy and he said, how'd I do? He said, well, not bad, but it's a female. And that's how it started. Here's the 1-2 delivery on the way. Darren O'Day was the coach when he was here in his rookie year with Anaheim. He won the milking contest that year, so he actually coached Dylan Bundy before he started. And he looked, that trophy he was holding up has his name on it, and he picked it up and he showed Dylan Bundy, there's my name. I'm a former champion. What are you looking at me like that? I mean, that goes to third, and Giannis is there to make the catch.
Well, perfectly positioned for a rocket. A little Brooks Robinson right here. Brooksy, what, turned 79? This is, well, you could go down the list. All-Star games, World Series, you name it, top spinned it. Of course, Paulie, defensive whiz.
Oh, what a glove.
Right there, yeah.
A great defensive player. Petit up, he grounded out his first time up. Gregorio Petit batting in the 9 spot. Wow, there's a rainmaker. Not a lot of room in foul territory. Anish may have enough. Had to track that one on radar, and there are 2 down. A couple of easy outs here. The Orioles return to Camden Yards Memorial Day. That's Monday, May 30, 4-game series with the Red Sox. After the Memorial Day matinee at 1:35, O's Red Sox will battle Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday nights, 7:05 games. So help paint the park orange. Get your tickets at Orioles.com or 888-848-BIRD. 2 teams vying for the division lead at the moment.
And you could tell Buck Showalter, well, and Dave Wallace waited the right, hiding there with the glasses on, saying, boy, we like those, even if those line drives are hit right at people, we like those quick at bats, because I think the one number that I think is, at least tells me something, is that last year, what, he averaged 4.63 innings per start. He's almost up to 5.9 this inning, or this year, so getting much more adept at maybe pitching deeper in the game, and there's 96 just off the outside corner.
That'll be good news for the Orioles, obviously. 2 down, nobody on. Escobar is grounded out twice. 1 ball, 1 strike delivery by Wright. Foul back over the top on that one, and came in on the fist a little bit.
Well, you have to react as a pitcher and even as a catcher. You know, how's the guy reacting to you? Is he late? I thought to Ortega in the last inning where Mike made a nice play, they kind of sped the bat up.
Escobar in a half swing that time, and he's mad at himself, but he kept his at bat alive.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's not that you can't throw a breaking pitch when the hitter is late on your fastball, which is the case here. It's just where you throw. And the count at 1 and 2 allows you to, I mean, bury it, throw it down underneath the zone, get him to chase.
1-2 and another one. Escobar able to foul back. Now Escobar battling here. 67 pitches thrown by Wright, coming off the win against the Tigers. 2 runs, 3 hits over 7, longest outing, career high 108 pitches in that game. One-two delivery again, and this time he'll come inside. That'll even it up at 2-2. Nick Wright, for his career, 5 wins and 8 losses. He had the 12 appearances, 9 as a starter last year. Went 3 and 5, and up and in.
Yeah, these are the kind of at bats that, if you're an Angel fan or you're the Angel trying to get back to the game, because all you got to do is look on deck, and now all of a sudden you got the home run guys coming up.
This is going to be the 8th pitch of this at bat. 3-2. We'll add another to that one.
Well, it goes back to what we talked about, the least amount of strikeouts of any American League team. Last year it was Kansas City, the same the year before. Both years went to the World Series. Pesky.
Troublesome for a pitcher.
It is.
Tried again. 3-2 delivery on the way, and just missed, but did. That'll be the second walk surrendered by Wright. Comes with 2 down. He does extend the inning to the number 2 hitter, Calhoun.
Yeah, it opens up holes. He gets a home run guy. 26 of them last year. Just missed one first time up. This year the home run's down, at least for the moment. And of course, if he gets on, you have one of the best players in the game waiting on deck.
Well, let's see what Wright can do with Calhoun. The left-handers, only 2 in the lineup. Calhoun has doubled and struck out. Ortega has doubled and grounded out.
That's a pretty telling number, 450, 0-0. That means if you put it in play in that count.
And that'll be taken inside by Calhoun. Hitting with a lot of confidence here because he is hitting, and you tell by the way he's looking at, seeing pitches, that he's got a good idea about what he wants to do at the plate, and he's got power. 365 to right field, these left-handed batters. 1-0 delivery to him in the air, center field. Adam Jones going back at the wall. Jones up. Adam Jones hauls it in. Makes the catch in center. So in this ball game, we have Jones and Trout, and both of them can make plays like that. And for Mike Wright, it ends the inning and saves a couple of runs.
Highlights. Well, it's about Manny, and why not? Home run number 12 right here. A blast off the hill. Top Rickard already at homer, so back-to-back home runs in the first. And then defensively, you know, third baseman playing shortstop because of the Hardy injury. Nice play right there. Bare hands it. Not too many guys can make that play. And then the curveball slapped into left field. So those are your Geico game highlights. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com for a free rate quote.
And Matt Wieters with the 0-1 count, leading it off for the Orioles here in the 6th inning. A base hit, and he's flied to right field, and that's going to go to center. And that is what Matt's been doing of late. He's barreling up and picking up some base hits.
Well, you got to understand with the the Tommy John last year didn't play as much as he would like. Then spring training, kind of a little bit of a tweak on it, so he missed a little bit of spring training. So kind of rounding into shape. Played some back-to-back games, something he didn't do early on in April.
So he is 13 for 37 in the month of May, up over the 330 average for the month. The Orioles again get the leadoff man on, but Bedrosian staying on, coming out of the bullpen to get the final out on one pitch in the 5th inning. Jonathan Schoop 0 for 2. He has struck out and flied out. For Moore, he worked 2 innings out of the pen, no runs, a couple of hits and 2 strikeouts. He did what he was asked to do after the starter, Santiago, got thrown out for arguing balls and strikes. He was heaved in the 3rd inning. Hard foul ball the other way by Jonathan Schoop. Orioles 4 runs, 6 hits, no errors. They've left 4. The Angels a run on 3 hits, no errors. They have left 4. The Angels already on their 3rd pitcher, while Wright, the starter, still into the Orioles. Wieters off first, the 0-2 delivery.
Wow.
Way up.
Well, right out of high school, first round pick by the Angels, and he does have a good arm. Up and down 4 times last year. Has never started a game at professional level.
Here's the 1-2 delivery, and again that 95-mile-an-hour fastball in the fist high, and a 2-ball 2-strike count on Schoop. Wieters, a couple of steps off first base. Schoop goes up the middle, and that's a base hit. A bouncer. right over second base. So the Orioles get the first 2 on here in the 6th inning, and a real good chance to add to their 4-1 lead.
Yeah, right back up the middle, and then Bedrosian almost gets it with his bare hand. That's not a good habit to do. I mean, the ball, there's no way he could have caught that ball. Very fast infield here in Anaheim. The Orioles now with what, the leadoff batter on for the 6th innings.
Yeah.
Want to give up runs? Even though all the runs scoring on home runs tonight. That's a good way to get the opposition going.
So Nolan Reimold the opportunity. 2 on, nobody out. Infield double play. Death Escobar at third base, a step in front of the bag. Nolan Reimold will take the breaking ball away. He is grounded out and struck out. So another big moment in the ball game as the Orioles get a chance here in the 6th to add to that lead.
Yeah, love to shoot one into right, Gary. I mean, get the runner over. Probably stay out of the double play.
Ground ball to third. That's going to be 1 and 2, and no chance at 3.
Yeah, nice pitch, because but again, if you're hitting, I mean, the curveball, it's going to speed up your bat because it's, you know, not 95. But boy, if you're trying to hit it to right field, which it didn't appear he was, you're not going to be around it. I mean, you could just see him around it right there. They're thinking triple play, and the White Sox had what, another one. They've already had 2 this year. Started this way, but Nolan Reimold runs too well.
Did Vitello, good idea hanging on to the baseball. So now a runner at first base, 2 down. Paul Janisch will take the pitch outside. Janisch has walked and flied out to center field. Well, the Orioles' chance at a big inning significantly reduced. That one towards the hole. The tee. One hopper. Oh, picked it. Crone makes a great play. An intentional bouncer, and as Jim said, on this hard surface, you do get some bounce. He wasn't going to get it over there if he tried to right himself. So he gives it to Derek Jeter. 1 hop to first base, and he had him by a full step. Wow. So that will do it. No runs on a couple of hits. 1 left on base. Orioles up 4-1. The game, it's Miller time, brought to you by Miller Lite.
Again, the Orioles get back-to-back home runs. It's 2-0. Calhoun with a double. Great defensive play. Good throw by Davis. No indecision. Nice tag by Wieters. And they keep the Angels, at least in the first inning, off the board. Really nice play.
So important at that point of the ball game. Right back to work. Orioles starter. You get the big cut taken by Trout. He's grounded out, hit into a fielder's choice. That is A.J. Actor in the bullpen. As Bedrosian may have completed his work. Trout inside up, very deep in right field. That's going to be a base hit. Rickard was back near the warning track out there, so he had no chance to get in. Trout is on with a single.
Well, it certainly takes the double play. I mean, watch him stay inside the ball. And again, the bat head's really outside his hands. He doesn't hook balls. That's his theory. He was talking about it down in the cage. He said, listen, if you're going to try to pull the ball and open up, you can't hit the breaking ball. So stay inside the ball. That way it gives you a better chance of hitting both of them. Now a nice little lively conversation with Chris Davis down at first.
Trout gets his 51st hit. Manny Machado has had 52 and 53 in this ball game. And they are both behind Xander Bogaerts, who started the day with 57 along with Altuve. But the leadoff man is on for the first time against Wright. Angels get their 4th hit. Pujols has struck out and walked. Pops that one back and out of play upstairs.
Hey, got to figure, where can I get a ground ball? Pujols at this particular time in his career doesn't run that well. You can see a lot of fastballs, 71 of them.
One ball, 1 strike count. And that'll back him off. Up and in. 2-1.
He's protecting the outside corner because that's where he struck out. And
against the Orioles, 261 average, 5 home runs. 2-1 delivery on the way. Again came in a little bit. Pujols has only played 31 games against the Orioles in his outstanding career. So many in the other league. Mike Wright has held him to a 1-for-4, including the 0-for-1 tonight. Trout at first base, not extending his lead. Two-two delivery. And another one. Foul back almost exactly where the previous one went.
well, Albert Pujols was only hitting what, 132 after 18 games, and Tim Salmon, who was a terrific player out here, does pre and post game for the Angels, said, you know, a lot of times for older hitters, because you don't see all the pitches that you will normally see in spring training, it's easy to get off to a slow start. Mark Trumbo talked about that when you did an interview with him.
Right with a 2-2 again, and that's going to be outside. Against the righties.
Yeah, and of course the problem was with the lefties, and there were a lot of fastballs, and trying to get to a critical part of the game where they're looking for base runners and you're looking for outs.
3-2, nobody out. Trout at first. He's running. Pujols takes it up and in again. Pujols drops the bat and stares out. He was a little upset that Wright was coming up and in on him twice during that at bat, and gave it a pretty good look.
Pretty dramatic there.
Yeah.
Like Mike Wright was trying to hit him with a 3-run lead.
And Mike moved right in from the mound, not towards Pujols, but just to make clear. Got anything else you want to say?
Well, you got to control your emotions here. Nobody up in the Oriole bullpen, and you need to make a pitch here. And you got one of their hottest hitters.
So 2 on.
Yeah.
2 on, nobody out. Cron has grounded out a couple of times. Last time Manny Machado made a great play on him, and Cron will foul that one away. So big moment here for Wright for the first time really since the first 2 innings. He'd retired 10 in a row at one point before the walk to Escobar in the 5th. Just starting to throw Michael Gibbons in the bullpen for the Orioles. 0-1 count, nobody out. Orioles up 4-1. Angels have 2 on in the 6th. Wright's delivery to him will miss down low, and a 1-ball, 1-strike count.
Yeah, this is when you have to pitch third time through the order. I mean, C.J. Cron's his first at bat was terrific, and Davis was way off the bag, but he hit it right at him.
394 with runners in scoring position for Cron, which is the 8th best in the league.
Yeah. And if you think here in the 6th inning you're going to get the low pitch, you're not going to get it. It hasn't been called, hardly all of tonight. And of course, what are they doing? They're looking for runs and base runners.
Two and one the count. Trout, Pujols their leads. Rides inside at 92 and misses. 3-1.
And Mike Wright took a look into the dugout.
What the Orioles have asked him to do is settle his emotions, get off the mound, go to the back, take a breath. 3-ball, 1-strike count. Pitch on the way to Cron. He'll take it for a strike. He too was headed to first. Tough night for John Tumpay, an on-plate umpire.
Well, they think it's off the plate, and
it's there.
Yeah.
It's not been a tough night as far as calls being made. He's been pretty consistent, I think, but it's just nobody's happy.
Well, he's been a high ball umpire.
Yeah. 3-2. If the runners move here, they do not. Swing and a miss, went down and away at 95.
Well, you talked about it. You take a little stroll. He's going back there right now, trying to calm himself down, and then 95. And the one thing you can't teach Mike Wright, he already has, and that's, he's got a really good arm.
Well, there's one big out. Now Giavotella, another hot hitter, 0 for 2 and a ground ball, and has flied out. 0 for 5 so far off Wright in his career. Check swing, he went around. John Tumpay, an home plate umpire, makes the call on that one. And of course he thought he did not. Why me? Because it's a full moon night, that's why. 0-1 count. In the air to the gap. Adam Jones coming. He'll pick it up, making the turn. One will score. Trout's in. Pujols to second. And the lead cut to 4-2. RBI Giavotella.
So again, they try to go to the secondary pitches, and he hangs a curveball just like he did to Perez earlier in the game. And a guy that's hitting what, 353, here it is. He just pokes it into center field because it's up. Not where he wanted to get it.
RBI number 12 and a 9-game hit streak. And Oriole pitching coach Dave Wallace on his way out. So the one inning where the Angels get the leadoff man on, they converted into at least one run. Wright had retired, only 63% of leadoff batters coming into the game, but it took till the 6th inning for the Angels to get the leadoff man on.
And it wasn't really the soft single to right by Trout. It was the walk to Pujols. Got ahead of him. Struck him out the last time, and then just couldn't command his fastball.
Well, there are still runners at first and second base. Fans making some noise. They'll take a double, and he's grounded out. And the pitch Down low, Rafael Ortega with a chance to pull the Angels that much closer. Bear in mind the lead runner Pujols does not run very well. One down.
And again, if you're Buck Showalter, lefties are hitting 550 off Michael Givens. So when you get him up in the bullpen, I mean, righties are under 200. And of course they came in what at 371. Lefties off of Wright. So you go with a guy that's been out there. Otherwise, I think if you had somebody with better numbers, you might see him in the ball game.
1-0 delivery on the way. There are no left-handed batters on the bench for the Angels. They only have 2 and they're in the game. But a perfect time for a left-handed batter to be up. 2-0 count, 1 down. Pujols, Giovatello are the base runners. Again looking for a ground ball. And the off-speed pitch is in there for a strike at 78. Goes to 2-1 on Ortega.
Well, you know, Matt Wieters encouraged and called that pitch. Pretty gutsy pitch. And thrown a lot of change-ups. It's probably been better than the breaking ball.
And off the end and foul back, another one.
But see, even right here, he gets all emotionally upset right there because he hangs the changeup, back-to-back changeups. But you got away with it. Now just make a better one. And those are the kind of emotional issues I think that they're trying to iron out with Mike Wright. You know, he didn't mean to throw it belt high. He took a big swing. He missed it. Move on. And I'm sure that's what Dave Wallace has said many times, along with Dom Cheedy.
2-2 delivery on the way. Ortega down to first base. Davis. He'll go. Took a long time and it hits the runner. And everybody is safe. And it caught him maybe on the elbow. Giovatello going into second base.
Yeah, right elbow. That's what he's shaking. Well, again, right there. And of course, when you run the bases, I mean, right in the back, as it turned out, almost got him in the number 2.
So that is going to be it for Wright, the starter, as the Angels, trailing by just 2, have loaded the bases here in the 6th inning. And Michael Wright is out of there. Michael Givens is on his way in.
He still has a chance to do that. Again, the high changeup to Calhoun, pitched really well. Pujols goes down on strike. Right here makes a nice fielding play. 6-6, long way to the ground, but he snags it. And then Crone strikes out. He will leave with the bases loaded. So there is the pitching line, and Michael Gibbons will come on. Certainly a tough situation. So he gets at least a better matchup, righty versus righty. As we mentioned, against lefties, the number's not where he wants to go.
Bases are loaded. Pitch will be taken for a strike. Perez. There you see the numbers for Gibbons and lefty righty we were talking about.
Yeah, that's not. You'd like to be down about what, 40% lower than that.
There's another one that will just miss. So at third base, Pujols a walk. Giovitella is single at second, and then the error was charged on Davis on the throw that hit the runner, allowing Ortega to be at first. 1 out. 1-1 delivery.
Wow.
That is going to be a ball.
Well, you're right about Tumpane. He hadn't called any low strikes, but strikes are supposed to be strikes. And that ball looked like it was a good enough pitch to call. And of course, Gibbons strikes people out.
That ball put up in the air, left center field. Jones coming over. Runner will tag. Adam will make the catch. Pujols will score. Throw will come into second base. And it's a 1-run game. So Perez picks RBI. Second run of the inning up here with the sac fly. And there are 2 down, and it's 4-3.
Yeah, a couple of RBIs for the Angels catcher.
This is what Mike Scioscia, he said before the game, our top 4 guys are all getting it done. We got to get some contributions from the guys who are down in the lineup. Well, that is happening in this ball game with Perez picking up 2, and that's 8 on the year. Petit runners at first and second, and the pitch taken for a strike. Gregorio Petit.
Yeah, he's really played well tonight at defense. In fact, there's been a lot of outstanding defense for both clubs.
0-1 delivery by Gibbons. He'll miss outside with that. Giovitella and Ortega are the 2 base runners. That ball being caught in right center, but Jones moving towards third base. Giovitella chose not to tag up and risk making the out at third. And that's going to go to a 2-ball 1-strike count. A lot of base runners in this ball game. 2 for 8 for the Angels with runners in scoring position. 2-1 delivery on the way. Couldn't catch up to 95.
Yeah, big swing, looking fastball, got fastball, still couldn't get it.
Petit made his debut for the Angels, called up from AAA Friday night last week. 2-2 pitch on the way. Petit will foul that one off leader.
Direct hit.
Oh yeah.
Doesn't seem to phase him.
Amazing. 2-2 with 2 down. Orioles trying to protect a 1-run lead now. They were up 4-1. And that's fouled off the other way as well. Petit had played in the majors, 82 career games, played with the A's, the Astros, and the Yankees. Played with the Yankees a bit last year, and then signed as a minor league free agent in December of last year. And Mike Scioscia has needed all of these bodies with the injuries we talked about earlier.
Well, they got Simmons from Atlanta. I mean, a defensive whiz, and he gets sprained ligaments in his thumb.
Well, they go as far as they can. 3-ball, 2-strike count, 2 down, 2 on. Giovitella, Ortega will be going. Gibbons delivery. Broken back. Right field. Bermuda triangle base hit. One will score. Rickard will get it into the cutoff man play. No, it's second. Petit drops a dying Quail base hit into right field. It scores Giavotella, and the game's tied at 4.
Well, it goes back to what we talked about. If you don't strike out, you got a chance. And it is a great breaking ball. Bad result. One-handed little looper. And then right here, maybe thinking about getting the out at second, get out of the inning. But again, you have to be very, very careful, because Ortega can really run. He came flying to third. This is what the Angels did. We talked about, what, 9 comeback wins, 2 or more.
Yep.
Trying to do it again tonight.
Escobar at the top of the order. Now there are 2 in scoring position, with Ortega at third, and Petit moved up to second base on that throw. And the pitch taken away. Escobar is 0 for 2 and a walk in the ball game. A big comeback, 3 runs in here in the 6th inning for the Angels.
So you get the free pass, and then you get the error.
1-0 pitch on the way, and the off-speed delivery way out in front of it.
And Escobar, another guy, 321 with runners in scoring position.
The righty is still on the hook here, because that runner at third base, Ortega's his. And it is taken for a strike at the knees. 1-2 from Gibbons. A big play when the Orioles had a chance to get a double play on Ortega's ground ball to first. Chris Davis's throw to second hit him in the back. That one is fouled away. Count will stay at 1-2. T was all the way down to third. He's just taking up at second now. 1-2 delivery again. Ground ball to the middle, snagged by Gibbons. He'll make the flip over to first base, and that will do it. But 8 batters came. They got 3 runs in, and they've made this a 4-4 game. Masson is brought to you by PNC Bank, for the achiever in you, and by American Standard Heating and Air. It's their all-star sales event with up to $1,100 in instant rebates or 0% APR for 36 months. Gary Thorne and Jim Palmer in a wild ball game. 4-4. A lot going on though through 6.
Yeah, so Alvarez comes on. They give up some runs against Seattle. It had 9 consecutive scoreless. So you can see right there, pretty good numbers, a lot of strikeouts, not a whole lot of walks. And then your matchup numbers, righties hit him pretty well, lefties a little bit over 200. And a little bit more fly ball than ground ball pitchers.
He pitched yesterday against the Dodgers, an inning and 2/3, had 1 strikeout. Joey Rickard. And will take the pitch up high for a ball. So what Socha is being forced to do are use some members of this bullpen he really would have liked to have kept out of the ball game probably, but with his starter getting thrown out in the 3rd inning, no choice. So he has to shorten up either let one go long or shorten them all up and try and get a win that way.
Yeah, just try to sequence your way to the 9th inning and take your chances.
Yep. Record a home run leading off the ball game is 4th. He is flied out and grounded out. Down to 3rd and foul. He and Manny Machado had back-to-back home runs to start the game. And the last team that had back-to-back home runs to start a game, the Rangers did it on May 7th at Detroit. Ronald Odor and Nomar Mazara had the home runs to kick off the ball game. Here's the 1-2 delivery on the way, and again jammed him, and he fouls it off again.
Yeah, I think the more you see Joey Rickard get a chance to play at the major league level, you realize good fastball hitter, and they're going to try to get him out with off-speed stuff. Unless you go down and away, hard to throw the ball by him.
And Rickard had to reach for that one, and will foul it back.
Already a Rule 5 guy in there. He's become a high and tight, low and away guy.
Yeah. And showing that pop when you make a mistake in that first at bat, and he crunched one. Alvarez on for Bedrosian, who worked an inning in the 3rd. A couple of hits. Morin out of the pen, 2 innings, 2 hits, 2 strikeouts. Left-hander's delivery to him, and just able to foul that one off and keep the at-bat alive.
Yeah, well, that's what he does.
Everybody really having to work in this ball game, pitchers and hitters, and we're tied at 4. Top of the 7th inning. Joey Rickard takes it outside corner strike.
Yeah, he takes a look at that outside corner. It appeared that he thought the ball might be off the plate a little bit. And right there, Perez puts the glove down, and that's what you talked about, Gary. Last night, very good. End up coming from behind to beat the Dodgers.
Well, this one's going to come down to late inning heroics for somebody. 1 down, and the pitch taken away. Manny Machado, big night. Home run, the back-to-back in the 1st, drew a walk, scored in the 3rd, base hit in the 5th inning, upping that average back to .327. For Mike Wright, non-decision, 5 1/3. He gave up 4 runs, 2 earned on 5 hits, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts. Salas in the bullpen as the parade from the Angels bullpen will continue. 1-0 count. And Manny gets around and fouls that one off outside of 3rd.
Yeah, you can see what Jose Alvarez is trying to do. He's just kind of cutting it in, running it in, and then change ups away. Keep you from extending your arms, because that's what Manny did the first time and homered up on the hill in center field here.
427 feet away. 1 ball, 1 strike delivery to him. Took something off that pitch and misses down low and away. 2 ball, 1 strike count on Machado. Orioles with a quick 2-0 lead in the ball game. And you see the Angels bounce back 2-1, then 4-1, and then that last half inning, 3 runs, only 1 earned on 3 hits, and the Angels have tied it up. The managers have had a lot to think about. And there'll be more to come in this game. 3-1 delivery on the way, and Manny again out in front, fouls it off down the end of the Angels dugout. We're battling to get on here with a 3 ball, 1 strike count. stay behind that fence. Alvarez again. Manny again. Baltimore chopped to third. Escobar with a long throw. That's going to go wide. Off the glove of Crone. It was right into the runner. And that'll be an error charged on the throw by Escobar.
Yeah, because there's 2 strikes, he's back. You can see how deep he is, and he'll just catch it casually and then drops his arm. And anytime you drop your arm, ball's going to tail. Of course, C.J. Crone, he's trying to catch it and not get hurt. Anytime the throw's up into the line, there might be a collision.
It'll be the 8th error charged to Escobar. The Angels came in 12th in defense fielding percentage in the American League. So let's see if the Orioles can take advantage of the first error committed by the Angels. Adam Jones 0 for 2 and a walk in the ball game. Adam will take the pitch and a called strike. For Adam against left-handers, hitting only 171 coming into the ball game. Adam had an 0 for 1 against the left-handed starter Santiago. Adam on a pitch this time down and in. 0-2.
Now a little cutter, hard slider down and in.
Orioles lost the series to the Angels last year, 4-2. Orioles went 1-2 in games played in Anaheim. 0-2 delivery on the way, and Adam will take that inside. Well, 1 ball, 2 strike count. Another big crowd on that. They had an enormous crowd for the wrap up of the Dodger last night. 45,007. The largest regular season crowd Angel Stadium history since the '98 renovation when they added seats. And another pitch down and in, and a good one gets him.
Yeah, backdoor, back leg slider. It was a good one. And when you get an aggressive hitter, and Adam Jones, as we mentioned, is one of those slumps. Of course, it's a mini slump. Came in 0 for 11, just chasing. Yeah, that's a good pitch. Hard to hit.
So the runner remains at first base. Alvarez with 2 down. He'll face Chris Davis. Shift on against him. This is the first time tonight that they put on the shift that looks more like the one we normally see with Giavotella out there.
Well, there's Trout. I mean, he's kind of towards Riverside.
Yeah.
He does play deep, and it just makes it a lot easier to get to the wall. Home run hitter at the plate, 47 of them last year. It's not that he has trouble going back. It's that it is hard to get to the wall and make the kind of catches he's capable of making if you play real shallow.
Yeah.
Because the wall doesn't give in a lot of the stadiums.
Trout, as everybody has seen over and over, with that tremendous leaping ability out there to rob teams of home runs. Davis goes that way to left field. He got a lot of it at the wall. And goodbye, home run. Chris Davis going the other way. Gets enough of it to get it over the wall at the 390 mark. A 2 RBI homer coming with 2 down here in the 7th inning, and the Orioles are up by 2.
Yeah, that's such a tough place on normal nights to hit home runs, because you do have to hit that ball about 395 feet to the opposite field. He gets into double digits. 4th of the night, 2-run shot for the Orioles. And what a BB that was.
Boy, you got to have some power to do this. Our Lexus of Towson drive of the game.
Yeah, take a look right here. I mean, up and away. It barely gets out of here, but he thinks it's gone immediately, and then puts his head down and runs.
That's our drive of the game, brought to you by Lexus of Towson, the area's #1 luxury dealer. Come see why at lexusofTowson.com. That's a pretty good look right there, wasn't it?
Well, I think Ortega almost got to that ball.
He did.
I mean, he can, and again, maybe a little bit taller, but it just barely got over his glove, and Alvarez didn't know. And then the hands on top of the head when he did know.
So the Orioles, as the Angels did, have taken advantage of the error. There were 2 unearned runs scored by the Angels in the 6th inning. The Orioles now have a couple of unearned runs up here in the 7th. And another home run with 2 down. Trumbo rather has delivered one of those. His 13th came in the 3rd inning, the 4th home run the Orioles have had in this ball game. Actor has been up once before. Sal is still throwing. And a swing and a miss on a ball down and away. Chris Davis with that home run now has 10. He's got 27 RBIs. He and Mark Trumbo leading the team in RBIs. Trumbo's added 2 more in his home run tonight.
Yeah, you would almost think that Alvarez, as Buck Showalter always talks, would be a reverse split guy where maybe he gets righties out better than lefties, but that's not the case.
Comes right back to him. He waits. Cron gets over to first base. 7th inning stretch time here in Anaheim, and for Chris Davis, he put one out of here, just out of the reach of Ortega and left, and the Orioles lead at 6-4. Presented by authority of the Orioles, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Orioles. What a ball game, as the Orioles have gone back on top 6-4 in front of 40,000. 987-40, 9-8-7 for game 1 of the 3-game set. Now Givens will try and hold the fort as he becomes the pitcher of record for the Orioles.
And again, the number 11 for 20. That's what the lefties were off Michael Givens with 3 walks.
Calhoun leading it off here will be followed by Trout and Pujols. So here's that middle of the order again.
Yeah, in the only inning they get the leadoff batter on, they end up scoring 3 runs in the last inning.
And the pitch will be taken inside for the ball. 8 batters came to the plate in the 6th inning. Darren O'Day up for the Orioles. One and one from Givens. Nichols pitch, and that's going to be inside.
Yeah, that's a changeup he doesn't throw very often. And again, with the numbers, he may not know exactly what the number is, 11 for the 20, but he knows he has trouble with lefties. But the minute you throw that changeup, you know what Cole Calhoun's sitting on. He's just looking fastball.
Got one in the air, left field. Reimold is there. Will haul it in. One down, bottom of the 7th inning. Now the Orioles and Rays game that was rained out April 9 has been rescheduled. It'll be game 1 of a separate admission day-night doubleheader Saturday, June 25 at 1:05. Tickets marked April 9, honored for that 1:05 game. And then the second game that was going to be a 4 o'clock game has been moved to 7. For complete information, go to Orioles.com. Trout, a base hit, scored in the 6th inning. He is 1 for 3, is grounded out, hit into a fielder's choice.
Yeah, he'll turn 25 on August 7th. About a year ahead of age-wise of Manny Machado.
And with the base hit that he did pick up in that 6th inning, he reached that group of 8 players with 150 homers. And the 500 runs, 24 years of age, keeps piling them up. 2-0, he was taking all the way. And it'll come in the inside corner, 2-1.
Well, 129, 109, 115, 115 runs scored a year. MVP in 2014, runner-up 12, 13, and 15. That kind of gives you an idea.
That'll go to third. Pauliani shot, knows his runner, and gets him.
What a play. Of course, he got robbed by Petit, who went into the hole right here. I mean, look how quickly he gets up because he knows who's running. That's that internal clock that Mike Bordy certainly had and talks about all the time. No time to hesitate. He doesn't. Nice stretch by Chris Davis.
Just his second start at third. And Giannis playing it as though he'd been there forever. A couple of outs here, and here's Pujols getting through this middle part of the order. And you hope quickly, so you may not have to see it again.
Well, if he doesn't make that play, Pujols is the tying run.
Pujols walk scored in the 6th inning, drew a walk in the 1st, then he is struck out. So officially is 0 for 1 at the plate. Gibbons delivery, and that's going to be fouled away. Well, Pujols, last 8 ball games, that 375 mark. He has 568 career homers. He's one shy of tying Rafael Palmeiro for 12th. And ironically, he's also got 586 doubles and passed Rafael Palmeiro for 18th all time in 2 baggers. 1-2 delivery on the way, and that one off the fist. Probably going to fall in. Base hit. Pujols is on with a 2-out single.
Well, you got to fight it off sometimes. And again, I mean, isn't it? They strike out less than anybody else. You're seeing it all night long. Power hitter, 500, and all the home runs, and all of a sudden, instead of striking out, swinging through it, he just gets lucky, gets jammed, gets himself on first base.
And that will be it. Michael Gibbons will come out. O'Day will come on. 2 down, runner on. Orioles up by 2.
He gave up back-to-back home runs. And a controversial check swing by J.D. Martinez, and then Cabrera hit a home run. So again, tough against righties and lefties. Fly ball pitcher. And of course, Crone with good power coming up. And one thing about Darren, you can see there you go. Doesn't come in often this year. Normally he comes in a lot more with runners on. This year it seems like it's more like Michael Gibbons.
Runner on at first base. Pujols, so are 2 down. Crone is 0 for 1 off O'Day. Has power. O'Day's delivery to him up high, and he goes after for a strike. He has an 0 for 3 in the ball game, robbed by Manny Machado in the 4th inning. He has struck out and grounded out another time. We are in the bottom of the 7th inning. Chris Davis home run, top of the inning, putting the Orioles back on top 6-4. O'Day's delivery to Crone, that's foul back. Darren O'Day's 31st game against the Angels. 28 innings, 29 hits given up. 3.21 lifetime ERA. He worked against him last year 3 times, an inning each time, with a run on 5 hits last year against the Angels. Oh, 2. And Darren gets him to chase a mile outside. So O'Day comes on, gets a strikeout, no runs, 1 hit, no errors. 1 left on base. We go to the 8th. The Orioles up are Chevy do-ups, Wieters, Scope, and Reinbold. For game 2 of this 3-game set, Kevin Gausman will be on the mound against Matt Shoemaker. Our coverage on Masson, 9:30, O's Extra, presented by Jeep, followed by our game coverage at 10. All the access you need right here on Masson.
So Gausman actually has pitched pretty well. Shoemaker, 3 years ago, won 16 games for. It's been a struggle, so he'll get a chance against the Orioles. And then A.J. Actor, who was pitched, really signed and claimed through the Minnesota organization, and claimed by waivers by Philadelphia. He was there for a couple of months, and then the Angels had a chance to claim him. 46th round draft choice. And you could see lefties hitting him at close to 400.
And he will face a lefty here. So the Orioles, Matt Wieters fouls off the first pitch. Matt's had a couple of hits. He is 2 for 4 in the ball game. Boy, Matt has really torn it up in this ballpark now. He's hitting over 350 in his career with 5 home runs. 0-1 delivery. Wieters on the drop ball. That one off the table. 0-2.
Yeah, he's got 3 pitches: fastball, slider, change, and tops out around 90-91.
Actor way over on that first base side of the rubber. That one's a looper. Trout coming, won't get it. And that's what Matt Wieters is doing consistently as he drops in another a 3-hit ball game.
Well, he watched the Angels do it on a number of occasions. What do you do with 2 strikes? Do you overswing, or do you just try to make contact? And this is the 3rd looping hit, first by the Orioles, 2 by the Angels tonight.
So Wieters is on, and the Orioles have their 9th hit. They are out hitting the Angels 9-7. Lead 6-4. He's now had back-to-back 3-hit ball games. Matt Wieters. Jonathan Schoop, a base hit, 1 for 3, is flied out and struck out. Right-hander's delivery way out in front of that, almost turned it directly back.
Yeah, that's the changeup. See the on-base percentage, not a lot of walks. Jonathan is, when you start winding up, he starts the bat going.
Actor with the 0-1 delivery, and that fastball is going to miss outside. Actor worked scoreless inning Wednesday against the Dodgers. Angels took 3 out of 4 against the Dodgers. Had a sweep in the series before that. So 6 out of 7 they've won, and they've won their last 2. 1-1 pitch on the way. Another good delivery on that changeup. And has some great movement on it, and a 1-ball 2-strike count on Schoop.
Yeah, there's the changeup again. It's very effective. Good fastball hitters. Maybe a little bit better breaking ball hitter than changeup hitter. And he swings right through it.
Came back with heat, couldn't get on it. Count will stay at 1-2 strikes. Orioles know late innings, they're called tack-on runs, but oftentimes they're game-winning runs.
Well, yeah, Buck Showalter, who manages the club, says they're really add-on runs. I don't like the term tack-on because there's nothing tacky about them.
Yeah, sounds like you don't need them.
Right. Anybody?
1-2, ripped down the line. That's going to be into the corner. Ortega will chase it down. Wieters will head to third. Going into second base with a double is Schoop. So Jonathan Schoop, a 2 for 4 ball game, and the Orioles a chance to have a run-producing 8th.
Yeah, a lot of extra base hits, and I mean it just looks like a little breaking ball, and it stays up, and boy does he scream it into the corner. And Matt Wieters making sure the ball gets over Escobar's head at third, and then knows he's not going to score.
Well, the Orioles, again, because they hit all these home runs, are 0 for 2 with runners in scoring position. The infield is drawn in. And the pitch will be taken inside by Reimold. Nobody out. Reimold get into a strange double play fielder's choice his last time up. He is struck out and grounded out. 1-0 delivery on the way. Nolan gets that one in the air to left field. Wieters is going to tag. Ortega will make the catch. Here comes Matt. Throw, cut off. Runners stay at second and first, and a sac fly RBI to make it 7-4. Reimold gets it done.
Yeah, coming up through the minor leagues, Ortega threw out 15 last year in AAA Memphis for the Cardinals. But right there, Nolan gets the job in, gets a change up that stays up and hits it far enough to get the 7th run.
Reimold with a productive at bat. That is his 7th RBI, his first sac fly of the year. Orioles now have 7 of them. Now first and second with 1 away, and a swing and a miss. Paul Janisch. Janisch 0 for 2 and a walk in the game. A runner at second, rather. And Jonathan Schoop being held close. Big potential run out there. Janisch on a pitch did not go down and get. There's Schoop. Giovatello, you see, pretty close to the bag here to keep him tight. 0-2, 1 away. That'll miss inside. Alvarez, a couple of runs off him. The previous Angel out of the bullpen. He worked an inning, a hit, 2 unearned runs. He had a couple of strikeouts. 1-2 delivery. That's going to be up the middle, and that's a base hit. Scope will make the turn. He's going to be held. Trout gets it all the way into the catcher, and Perez comes out to make sure the runner does not move up to second base. Giannis a base hit.
Yeah, Bobby Dickerson, the third base coach, says Trout threw somebody out in the Dodgers series. He comes and gets the ball quickly. Out early throwing today. And I think my odds with Rickard coming up. Speedy guy, hard to double up.
So the RBI chance goes to the Oriole leadoff batter, Joey Rickard. The home run first inning, 1 for 4 in the ball game. The Orioles now with 11 hits, 7 runs on 11 hits. The Angels 4 runs on 7. First and third, 1 out. Rickard will take the pitch to the inside for a ball. So the Oriole offense coming alive here in the first game in Anaheim and on this road trip. Right when they needed it.
Yeah, they've taken advantage of the mistakes from Hector Santiago, who started and got tossed. And if you don't make a quality pitch, they're making you pay for it. And what good pitchers do that staffs that don't pitch quite as well, they just don't make as many. And this club can wear you out in a hurry.
Rickard 269, runner in scoring position number for him, and that'll be up and in. Continues to lead the Orioles in pitches seen per at bat, 4.36 coming in. 2 ball 1 strike count on him.
Well, he's even going to get better with more at bats, more experience. And right here, if he hits the ball to the right side, nobody's playing there. Can't double him up. Get another run in. Stay out of the double play.
Runner goes. Foul back up overhead.
Well, that's another way of.
Paul Yanich.
I mean, that's the classic hit and run count. The late Sparky Anderson, when you played the Tigers, I'm sure Cincinnati before he came over there. If you went 2-1, you figure start the runner, you have to throw a strike because you're behind in the count, and you stay out of the double play. Unless, of course, you line one at one of your infielders. And
that's the risk. 2 ball 2 strike count now. Yanich not going. And that's going to be a base hit into left field. The Orioles, Jonathan Scope will score. Rickard gets an RBI single, and the Orioles have an 8-4 lead.
Well, there's another pitch. It's a changeup, stays up. As I said, the Orioles do not miss these kind of pitches. And he hits this ball, sharp. Boom.
Joey Rickard's got a 2 RBI ball game with that base hit, along with his home run. Rickard is now up to 11 runs batted in. The Orioles have runners on at first and second, and 12 hits in the game.
Well, the Orioles have, Scott Coolbaugh's a hitting instructor. Mark Quinn, his first year as his assistant. Boy, they put the time in, and they're a dynamic duo.
Manny Machado. Manny, a big night. Home run. Single, reached on an error, walked. The Orioles shortstop has scored 3 times in the game. 1-0 delivery on the way, foul back.
Yeah, and again, because of all the usage of this bullpen, if you're Mike Soshin, your starting pitcher gets thrown out prematurely early. We're arguing balls and strikes. Your hands are kind of tied. You don't want to blow the rest of the bullpen, and you're just hoping that A.J. Actor can maybe make a pitch to one of the toughest outs in the American League. And
that's one away that time.
A little cut fastball got Manny to chase.
1 ball 2 strike count on Manny.
Yeah, the cutter, it looks like a fastball, and a perfect pitch down and away.
Orioles 4 home run ball game. 1-2 delivery on the way, and Manny will pop that one up over the dugout and into the seats. 2 in the 7th, 2 more so far in the 8th. It has been a game of deuces wild for the Orioles. They also had 2 in the 1st, 2 in the 3rd. picking them up 2 by 2 in this ball game. Orioles trying to get back to that 10-game over 500 mark. They'll do that with a victory in this game. 1-2 delivery. That's a bouncer. Actor. A lot of help from Perez.
Yeah. Spring training and try to get in front of it, and he does. Now gets part of his chest protector.
Two delivery, and will miss inside. So Manny takes the count full, 3-2. 2 on. Yanish the lead runner. Rickard. Jones waiting for his at bat. 3-2 delivery. Runners don't go. That ball in the air to left field. Ortega will come in a little bit, put it away. So there are 2 down. Follow the Orioles baseball live with MLB.com and BAT app. Stay up to the moment, any moment. Game day, live game video highlights, StatCast, news, and more. You can download it. MLB.com at BAT, #1 app for live baseball on your phone or tablet. Adam Jones has had an 0 for 3 and a walk. So Adam will look, try and get out of the 0 for here with this at bat. And a chance to pick up an RBI or 2 to go with it. Runners off first and second. Actor's delivery to him. Foul back. Don't be mad at me.
No. Yes, it did. Right. Dodgeball.
That
was
too
straight
close.
back. I mean, that had.
Tell Gubas how to sit down.
Yeah, they're happy.
It's been bothering me all night. 0-1 delivery on the way, and Jones will foul that one back.
Borrowing a glove for tomorrow night.
Borrowing a mask.
Or a shield or whatever.
That one in the air to right field. Calhoun will come over, and Jones is retired. But the Orioles add a couple more runs here in the 8th inning. Now Buck Showalter's ball club up by 4. Right, left, more sauce, please. Yeah, 76 on this date, Yankee Stadium, Red Sox Yankees, 20-minute bench clearing brawl. Pinella started it with Fisk and ending up separated shoulder Bill Lee. 2:06, Brzezinski ran into the Cubs catcher Michael Barrett. That ended up in a free-for-all. The bench is clearing. And then, of course, of late, we have the sauce part. We'll show you that in just a minute. This was not a good day to be out there in the field in those games. Those were both bench clearers. Pitch will be taken for a strike, and then we had the sauce. We have, of course, what happened with Toronto and Texas, and a barbecue joint down there called Heim's Barbecue decided that Ronald Odor's punch against Jose Bautista was worth free barbecue for the rest of his life, and that's the T-shirt they created to go with it. This is going to day in baseball for fisticuffs off the plate and foul. Giovatello.
Well, Bautista had a good night tonight.
Yeah.
We had the highlights. Yeah.
Yeah, he's back.
What was that? John Cameron Swayze
takes a look
at it and keeps on ticking. Timex watch.
That's right.
That's Jose Bautista.
They had a couple of games after that incident where they didn't play very well, and tonight picked it back up again. Ronald Odor, of course, with a suspension, but at least he knows he can eat. Ground ball will go to short. Manny Machado up with it. He'll make the play, and he gets it. Giovatello retired, bottom of the 8th inning, and an RBI base hit his last time. One down.
Yeah, it's good to see Darren O'Day after the couple of home runs. Of course, anybody can throw a home run to Cabrera, or, in that matter of fact, J.D. Martinez, who hit 38 of them last year.
Leadoff man retired. Here's Ortega. Double and a run scored. Reached on an error, and he is grounded out. Rafael Ortega waits on it, and O'Day's pitch outside. For Darren this year, he has not worked more than an inning. He did that number of times last time out against the Tigers. But we'll see whether or not he goes an inning in a third here. No reason he can't as he gets in trouble. Pitch on the way, fouled off, and O'Day evens it up at 1 ball and 1 strike. Orioles looking for a win here in this first game in Anaheim, 1 of 3. Same time tomorrow night. 9:30 O's extra, 10 o'clock for the ball game. Kevin Gausman, Matt Shoemaker. And the Sunday afternoon game.
Yeah, 12:30 out here.
And the pitch will miss down low. This has been a big night offensively for these teams, combining for the 12 runs on 19 hits, and 14 have been left stranded. A lot of pitches thrown. Hector Santiago, Angel starter, thrown out 3rd inning, arguing balls and strikes. Baltimore chop. Can he do it? Schoaf throws. Nice play.
Well, that's just unbelievable. I mean, if you're an Angel fan and you see the way that this club has played defensively tonight, you're going, well, they do this all the time. Well, the answer is yes. It's it's a statement to Bobby Dickerson, the infield coach, and the players themselves. But they know what they're doing. And you got your third baseman playing shortstop. You have your shortstop playing third. Of course, Schoaf's being Schoaf.
Yep.
And Davis, the 1 errant throw, but a great throw to cut off a run early. Superlative defense.
2 RBIs for Carlos Perez. 1 on a double, 1 a sac fly, 1 for 2. When we talk about depth in organizations and the difference it makes in the course of a season, you're going to have injuries. The Orioles needing it early and had the depth. That's why you keep Paul Janisch in the organization. I mean, he's one of the best gloves in the game anywhere. That'll go to left field. Reimold is there. He's got it. Just a 9-pitch inning. Inning in the 3rd worked by O'Day. He's retired all 4. We go to the 9th. 8-4 Orioles. Masson is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. So the Orioles 3 outs away from putting a W up. Be their 25th of the season if they can get it. And they'll try and add to the 8-4 lead they have as we go to the 9th inning. Chris Davis, the full shift employed here. A.J. Archer being asked to work his way through the 9th inning. Gave up a couple of runs, 4 hits in the 8th. Chris Davis will wait. Davis, the home run is 10th, 7th inning, a couple of RBIs. Red Brock in the bullpen for the Orioles. Chris 1 for 4 in the ball game, and the pitch will be taken away. So he gets ahead here, 3-0. Actor really being asked to do a little more than Mike Scioscia would like, but as Jim said, he does not want to go into that bullpen again. And this is about an inning longer than normally he would use Actor.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those classic cases of the obvious. When you use a guy tonight you didn't want to use or you had to use, then unavailable for tomorrow night. The more you use tonight, again, there just aren't any low strikes being called on any regular basis, and that doesn't mean that John Bain is not a good umpire. It's just that's his strike zone.
So Davis is on. Orioles pick up their 5th walk of the ball game. Visit MassonSports.com. Care First to vote for tonight's Care First Fearless Player of the Game. Live fearless with a name trusted for over 75 years. Care First, Blue Cross Blue Shield. The good buddies, Manny and Scope over there. Pitch will be taken down low. Mike Trumbo returns to his former home yard, hitting his 13th home run. Came in the 3rd inning, 2 RBIs off it. Trumbo has grounded out a couple of times. Fielder's choice. Pitch will be taken for his strike. 4 home run ball game with the Orioles. Rickard and Machado back to back in the 1st inning. Trumbo and Davis counting for 6 of the 8 runs in the game. 1-1 pitch and fouled off.
Well, the Angels, if you talk to a lot of the people that played with Mark, they love him. I mean, they love him to death. He's intelligent. He's a hard worker. Hit a lot of home runs for him. They needed pitching. Josh Hamilton was signed. And then they'll tell you, well, but historically, first half's better than second half. So that's the challenge. You know, he's older, more mature, more worldly. Certainly capable of having 2 good halves. Of course, he's hit over 30 home runs twice, so it's not like he had horrible years to do that. So,
no, this has been an enormous addition through these first month and a half for the Orioles to this offensive lineup. Even more power. Davis off first base, swing and a miss. Good pitch. He kept down. Trumbo will be a strikeout victim.
Yeah, perfect 2-strike pitch out of the zone. Don't have to throw a strike. That's one of the reasons you try to get ahead.
One down. Here's Matt Wieters. 3-hit ball game. He's had 3 singles. He has scored a run, 3 for 4. Puts that one up in the air to left center field. Ortega, Trout. Ortega will haul it in on the warning track. Well, Wieters gave it a ride, but it'll be the 2nd out of the inning. Davis back to first.
Yeah, well, I mean, what a factor if Matt Wieters actually can play on a more regular basis. You know, a typical year when he's healthy is somewhere, 20 to 25 home runs, and a switch hitter, and throws well as a catcher. And it looks like he's kind of moving towards that goal.
It does. So 2 down with a runner at first. Here is Scope. Double single his last 2 times up. This one down the line in right field. It'll be a foul ball. He scored In the 8th inning, RBIs Rickert had a base hit, sac fly Reimold in the inning. Jonathan Scope now has had 8 multi-hit games, 6 2-hit ball games, 2 3-hit ball games. Chance for a 3-hit game here tonight. We're in the top of the 9th. Orioles lead it by 4. A.J. Actor's delivery, and that's the same way foul.
Yeah, I think what the league is finding out about Jonathan Scope, he doesn't walk. We talked about that. He's a free swinger, but he's turned himself into a pretty good breaking ball hitter. So if you make a mistake like they did last time, or they did down in Texas, where he hit a couple of home runs. The night before, Wilhelmsen made some good pitches. The next night, he threw the same breaking ball, but a little bit inside, hit it into the seats.
Chopper to the middle and knocked down. Giavotella can't get it there in time. It will be a 3-hit ball game. Scope with another single. Tried to get the force out on Chris Davis at second base, but could not get the ball back there. So Jonathan Scope double 2 singles in 5 at bats. The Orioles now have 13 hits up on the board.
Yeah, it's hard to believe that the Angels came in averaging what 3.7 runs per game here, because how fast this infield is.
Yep.
I mean, it's not hit at somebody. It's going through.
Takes big hard bounces on the way to the outfield. Nolan Reimold. 1 ball, 1 strikeout. Reimold, RBI, sac fly in the 8th inning. 2 on and 2 down. Actor's delivery. That was one to drive and missed it. 1 and 2. Actor over the top, ground ball. That's going to be up the middle for a base hit. Chris Davis going to come around to score. Scope will go to third. And Reimold has a 2 RBI ball game, and the Orioles have a 9-4 lead.
Yeah, another one of those grounders, hit it hard. And playing pretty much straight away and right into left center field. Trout's over in right center field, so nobody plays there. Again, a very firm infield. And Orioles will end another run here. Now doubled up the Angels in hits with 14 of them.
Actor taking one for the ball club right now, and Scioscia's over there just praying he can get an out here and get out of the inning. There are 2 down. 9 runs, 14 hits for the Orioles. Paul Yanish, broken bat liner to third. Escobar's got it, and that will do it. Top of the 9th. Orioles add another. 3 hits, 2 left on. 3 outs away from a W. Brad Brock coming in. As the Orioles have piled them up here with the 9-4 lead, Brad Rock will come on to wrap it up.
Yeah, so Brad, having another outstanding year. I think what the Orioles will hope that happens is that because you do have a 5-run lead, it will be an efficient inning. His last inning was against Seattle, gave up a couple of hits and a walk, so 24 pitches. That's a little bit high, more than you want. But again, powerful arm. Look at the righties, only under 100. Fastball, slider, changeup, and there are 3 quality pitches. Throw as hard as 95. Big guy, 6'6", kind of funky delivery where it's pretty deceptive. Kind of feels like almost like a whirling dervish. I mean, he wheels and deals.
And Petit is the one he'll wheel and deal to start the bottom of the 9th inning. Petit's had a base hit and an RBI. He's popped out and grounded out. The Orioles held the middle part of the order. Calhoun, the number 2 hitter, had a double. Trout, a single and a run scored. Pujols had 1 hit, a single, a couple of walks, did score a run, but Oriole pitching able to keep that middle blasters under control in this game. Rock's delivery is up on a heater at 95 and a 1-ball 2-strike count. Great work by the bullpen. Givens worked an inning in the 3rd, couple of hits. O'Day an inning in the 3rd, a strikeout. Brad Rock on to finish it up. Starter Wright, 4 runs, 2 earned, 5 hits and 5 1/3. That'll go to 3rd, and Yanis is there. If it's close, he'll catch it. Even if it isn't, he'll catch it.
Oh yeah, I remember Mike Bordig was helping Miguel Tejada when he run from shortstop. So your angles, there's not much to have much of an angle, but do you take a step back? Do you take a step to your left and in? The same to your right, and then again a gifted defensive player. Regardless, probably could put him in center field and he'd figure it out.
Yeah.
Catching, maybe not so much.
Escobar and a wild cut on the pitch away. Well, the Orioles with an impressive performance here in this ball game.
Well, you get a team that's playing well, and that's what the Angels are. I mean, you look at their roster with all the injuries, as you mentioned, 10 of them, and you go, well, this is the perfect time to play them, but they had won 6 out of 7. And again, you got to get on a plane after you lose yesterday and then come all the way out here, different time change. They started off with back-to-back home runs off a guy that just shut out Seattle for 8 innings. And you're going, that's kind of the way we wanted to start this trip.
2-ball, 1-strike count. And the pitch will be down and away. Angels came back from a 4-1 deficit to tie the ball game up. They did that with 3 runs in the 6th inning. And then the Orioles just kept adding them on. 2 in the 7th, 2 in the 8th, and 1 in the 9th. And that will be fouled away. Orioles spreading out their runs and hits throughout the ball game. 14 hits, not a high. They had 16 against Minnesota. And of course, they've had a 6 home run ball game. They've had 4 in this one. 3-ball, 2-strike count. Escobar. Calhoun waiting on deck. And we'll miss.
Yep, not tonight. All night long, the ball around the knees, and that's actually what Major League Baseball wanted. They wanted the umpires to bring the ball up, and instead of the little crook underneath your knee, make it to the top of the knees. And so maybe John Tumpain is actually umpiring the way they want him to, even though I'm not sure he's making a lot of pitchers happy.
Now closer to the middle of that order you do not want to see again. And that will get Zach Britton up. Calhoun double back in the 1st inning. He is 1 for 4. He got thrown out at the plate on a big play that may get overshadowed here in this game because it came early. But fine play by Chris Davis to throw him out trying to score. Davis, an important play in that 1st inning. The Orioles had the 2-0 lead and looked like the Angels were going to get it back. Hit hard. Davis off his glove. Will go to second base. Tough angle and gets the out.
I'll tell you, Cole Calhoun has whacked the ball over the ballpark tonight. Missed a home run. Fan put the glove over the wall. I mean, this is a rocket. Nice play by Davis. And then heads up play right here. This time he gets a better angle because the ball goes into the outfield and gets a second out. A great angle right here. Otherwise it's a double. It almost knocks his glove off. Of course, Escobar is going, I don't want to get doubled up and have to go home and go pack from the drive home. So he doesn't know what to do.
No.
They were too late anyway.
Here is Trout. A pitch to him from Brock will be taken for a ball. A base hit, a couple of ground ball outs, fielder's choice. 2 down, bottom of the 9th. Orioles up 9-4. Trout will take a strike. Orioles hang on and win. Every visiting team in the American League will have won ball games tonight. Cleveland at Boston, Tampa Bay at Detroit, Kansas City at Chicago, Texas at Houston. Ground ball towards second base. Scopes got it, and now you can put the Orioles in Anaheim. That's going to do it, and the Orioles come away with a 9-4 win here in the 9th inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 left on base. Gibbons is going to get the win in relief, and he's going to go 3-0. Alvarez will be charged with a loss. He is 1-2. Orioles start their road trip here with their 25th win. The Angels' 2-game win streak is ended here tonight.